Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick guerrilla cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than rev counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal, Umar Akmal, Mahatma Gandhi, Grant and Andy, Brendan Behan, Austin Ian, guerrilla cricket. Stick with us, cause you know we're not the kind of thing that you see on the TV and the radio. So vive la revolution. First they tried to buy us, but we would not be bought. Okay, we were, but then we ran away, and we will not be caught. Would not give up the ghost when they left us all for dead. They decapitated us, but we just grew another head. Chairman Mao, Jamie Howe, Ho Chi Minh, Asif Din, Václav Havel, Graham Saville, No Surrender, Percy Fender, Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Darrell Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, guerrilla cricket.
Well, whisper it quietly, but we might be about to watch some cricket. And I don't know what all the fuss is about. 7 occasions in the past, starting in 1890, test matches have been completely abandoned without a ball bowled due to weather. And we've had the luxury of 96.2 overs here. So farcical as it may be, we've done better than some other tests, there's no doubt about that. Just so you know, tea has officially been taken, or is currently being taken as we talk, so there will be 56 overs of something. We don't quite know what yet, but there will be 56 overs of something. England 7-4-1, Sibley on 2, Crawley on 5, Pakistan, remember, 236. I am with none other than, firstly, erudite, always to the point, never known to be overly loquacious, Gary 999 Naylor. Hello Gary, how are you?
I'm very well, and I have a hypothesis which I shall share with you at the earliest opportunity.
The square on the hypothesis is equal to the sum of the other two sides. Is that the one?
Well, it'll have some funny angles to it, that's for sure.
Oh, you're going to share it later. Okay. Well, also then, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, in the Sydenham studio, keeping the show on the road, even when there's been no show, none other than the Bear.
I thought you were going to say I was the erudite one there, Tone. You know, but
No,
I can but wish.
As a large pink four-legged creature goes whizzing past my window.
Man, I'm always erudite. It's I've been sat here all day just waiting for them to. I mean, we say it's pointless, and Fred was pointing out yesterday there were, I think, 15 first-class games or games that were ostensibly 4-day games that have been completed within one day.
Yes, one of them was Middlesex against the Gentlemen of Philadelphia.
Yeah, and England can't win this. The only person who can win this the only team that can win this is Pakistan, and it would be crazy if they won it. I mean, it basically requires England to be, ideally not make the follow-on, which means they get out for under 39 or whatever it is, 36, 39. Or we get bowled out for, say, 50 in 20-odd overs. They decline to follow on, set us whatever it is we still need to get to be about 170 in about 35 overs. In which case, actually, we could win if we went for that, or they could bowl us out, which would be a crazy end to a fucking weird test, eh?
You know what I would like to see? I'd like to see Joe Root and Azhar Ali come together and say, a lot of people have worked very hard to get this on. Pakistan have been in quarantine for a month before the start of this series. Every test match we come out to play, we play to win. What we want to do, both sides want to win this test match. So we're going to bat on for another 20 minutes or so, get 250. We're then going to declare, Pakistan are going to declare, and they've set us 250 in the fourth innings. We think we can win and wrap up the series. Pakistan think they can win and be in a position to win the series in the final test. Now, what's wrong with that? What's wrong with both sides trying to win? We play test matches because they are there for the winning. We don't, as in tennis, decide that it's 3-1, so we're not going to play the fifth set. We play all the test matches because they are in their own rights monuments and they're for the victory. And yet, I bet most people listening now and the vast majority of cricket fans would say that I would be mad, completely mad, to suggest that.
Yeah, I'm one of them. I'm one of them, Gary.
A way to get both sides in with a chance of what they declared at the start of the match was their aim, winning a test match.
Well, that'd be. I'm sure Pakistan would love that. I'm not sure England would really want to do that.
Well, they can win the series in this match.
Yeah, they could win the series,
and
but they
do what they said they want to do, which is to win the test match.
Yeah, but they're giving away a position.
But you would have them.
It's always easy. Yeah, but hold on. It's really easy for Pakistan to say that. They've got runs on the board. England suddenly go, right, we're going to forfeit this innings. You're going to forfeit your innings, and suddenly you've got to bowl us out on a really friendly day, yeah, and with a wet outfield,
so
heavy skies.
Let's just draw and go home.
Well, that's what they should do. That's what I would do.
Let's not bother England trying to chase 250 in 50 overs, something they would do 9 times out of 10 in a one-day.
Well, that's happened a couple of times. 1970, I think, and in 1990. 1990 in Guyana, match was abandoned on the rest day, and they played 2 one-day internationals effectively.
Yeah, but we could have it as a test match. We could have a 250 run chase in 50 overs. I think both sides have got a stake in that. And that they won't do it is just boneheaded.
Yeah, but it's different from a white ball. You don't have fielding restrictions. I think.
Bear, you sound like me at Headingley with.
Well, gentlemen, hold that thought, because we are about to start. Although I have no doubt we will return to it.
Let's have some jingles.
Zach Crawley is going to take strike, and he's going to be facing Mohammed Abbas.
Zach Crawley was a cricket player, a damn good cricket player. But he was moved from the middle order to open the batting. Now, trapped in the English professional cricket circuit, Zach Crawley must fight to survive.
Needless to say,
I mixed these jingles well, you know.
Well, I didn't really hear it. This is a problem.
Well, this is the problem with Zoom.
That is the one small wrinkle in our tech system. That the when you get clever with the jingles, even when you're not being clever with the jingles, they're still quite hard to hear. They go out brilliantly, of course, on air. Still tossing what is still, of course, a new ball. I mean, it's only got 5 overs on it, hasn't it?
Yep.
Is Mohammed Abbas. I can tell you there's high fluffy cloud, plenty of blue sky. Light, at least for now, should not be an issue. 56 overs, as we said, due to be played in the day. Tea has come and gone. They had at least the good sense to get that sorted. And we're just sort of waiting, I think, after all this time now, to hit 3:20 as the exact start time, which is daft. But anyway, 4 slips are in place. Mohammed Abbas is going to be in too. Zach Crawley, who tickles him away past that man at forward short leg. They take a single, and that's all they'll take. So England move on to 8 for the loss of Rory Burns. Crawley on 5, and looks like it's given us a no ball.
Let's give it a little jingle.
Well, there we go. Now I'm going to ask one of you a question in a minute. Do we know which end? Well, do we know which end was the issue with the footmarks and the run-in? Because it would be bad if poor old Mohammed Abbas was at that end and the very first ball's a no ball.
We did say on Quick Info.
Yeah, as in comes Abbas. Nicely steered wide of those 4 slips. 3 of them off in what is basically a 100-metre sprint to see who's going to win. And well, that shows good, honest, hearty enthusiasm, Gary, for a game we feel might be dead. 3 fielders certainly weren't thinking that right there.
Well, it's competitive instinct clicking in, but it's also the innate conservatism of so much thought in life, never mind in cricket. Why both sides seem to be happy just to draw this is beyond.
Well, I don't think Pakistan probably are
winning.
happy to draw it, but England certainly will be.
It was a 3 for Sibley, anyway, for the record, so he moves on to 5. 12 for 1. Mohammed Abbas, and he's bowled, in theory, 2.1, of course, because the first ball was a no ball. In he comes, right arm over, moves away, not a lot of bounce, not a lot of movement, and not particularly scary on that occasion. Now, we did see, of course, we didn't see anything yesterday, but the day before, we did see the ball looping and hooping around all over the place, movement in the air and off the seam. First 3 balls, one of which was a no ball, haven't really looked overly stressful for Crawley or Sibley. I don't want to talk either of them out. That's a better ball, and it hurried Crawley. It was full and on middle and leg, and Crawley got his bat down just in time. 12 for 1.
I think it crashed into his thigh pad.
Oh, I'm lying. Well, look at that. It was actually almost very top of his thigh pad. It got up quite a lot and almost caught him a midriff, didn't it?
Yep.
12 for 1. 224. England trail by. This is all fairly academic, I feel. Barring some kind of cricketing miracle. Left alone by Crawley. And that's through to Rizwan, no run. They don't look like a side who's going to try and crash the runs quickly.
Well,
which is probably wise.
Exactly. Why would you?
Gary,
I mean, this is the thing. England are 1-0 up in a series. This test is gone unless you contrive a result, and England are in a position where they're 1-0 up. So
yeah, well, that's my point about playing the 5th test of a 5-test series. Why bother? Why bother?
Mohammed Abbas again. Those 4 slips stand ready, and that's past the outside edge of a forward prod of Crawley. So there, only 79 miles an hour. I have a feeling, Gary, to me, Mohammed Abbas looks a little bit more dangerous when he actually takes a little bit of pace off the ball.
Oh, he definitely is. He's a Lancashire League type pro who play from the age of about 24 through to about 54 and would get 100 wickets a season, just wobbling it this way, wobbling it that way at Haslington, Accrington, Rawtenstall, places like that.
Wobble here and a wobble there. Get you plenty of wickets in the Lancashire League, says Gary, and that is left. Again outside of off stump. Through
anywhere.
To the impressive, I have to say, in this test, extremely impressive, Maharid Rizwan. End of the over. We got any messages? And
Well,
who's
we
doing
have.
Gary, you are, I'm sure.
Jeff Perkins says, last time such a last time such a good for the game agreement was made was Mr. Cronier's. What was wrong with that? And the answer is nothing was wrong with the agreement. What was wrong with was its motivation. We got a fantastic test match out of that. Pirate Badshaw says, what's the point trying to artificially alter the condition of the game? Rain is an aspect of cricket, as are draws. Just accept it and move on. Well, that's a good argument for not having declarations. Mike Mehall Wood says, is this the most pointless bit of cricket since Cup Bowl versus India? Listening to this is as much of a testament to Mike's willingness to consume literally any cricket content. Ralph the Wonderlama says, afternoon grillers, afternoon everyone. Why isn't the Hofbed apoplectic about the extra weight for 20 past?
Well, 4 slips are in place as well for the left armour, who is over the wicket and full on off stump and played down into the ground by Sibley. It's Shaheen Shah Afridi.
We have a tweet from
Shaheen Afridi. No, not that other guy. It's always time for Shaheen Afridi. No, not that other guy. He survived the fall. Shaheen Afridi.
There you go.
It is Shaheen Afridi, the man with the impressive mop of hair. Good tall fellow as well. He's in. Nicely forward comes Dominic Sibley.
Given the conditions,
to the offside, no run.
Given the conditions this morning, I'd be more pleased with him if he had an impressive mop, actually.
Well, it was one troublesome bit of the pitch, though.
Yeah. Well, Lee, the bitch finder general's got a fatal flaw in the argument here. See if you can get it. Says Zach should adopt a more arachnid or generally arthropod-like batting stance. Then we could call him Creepy Crawley. Brackets. Good. That's a horror movie joke. But what's wrong with it? What's wrong with it?
What's wrong with his stance, or what's wrong with the joke?
No, what's wrong with the joke?
Well, an arachnid's a spider.
The premise.
An arachnid's a spider, and what's an arthropod? Like a crab or something like that?
Yeah, no, I'm thinking of something much more cricketing.
Oh, okay. Right, we'll hold that thought. Maybe someone can help us out, because it's quite obscure. Left alone, leans back, does Dominic Sibley, and then rehearses the shot again. Probably for 2 reasons. 1, because he played it very tidily by leaning out the way, and 2, helping him to get a little bit supple, having probably had his feet up for the best part of a day and a half, actually slightly more, playing Fortnite or whatever it is they've been doing. No, they must have gone to the nets, mustn't they? They must have done something. I'm sure they don't just let them go back to their hotel rooms and play computer games for 2 days.
No, they have to be on call and thinking about the game while the game's on.
In comes Shaheen Shah Afridi again. Good ball, just wide off stump. Left alone again by Sibley, 83 miles an hour.
So the flaw in the argument,
yes,
for Zach Crawley, is that we already have a Creepy Crawley. John Crawley of Lancashire and later of Hampshire, who
was that his nickname?
It was his nickname.
He was his nickname
as Creepy, and he played in the 80s, I think, possibly into the 90s.
Yeah, had a few tests.
Yeah,
but they're not related in any way, are they?
No. I mean, I think Zach Crawley's about twice the size of John Crawley.
Yeah, he's a tall lad, isn't he? As in comes Shaheen Shah Afridi, swings in, a little bit inside edgy by Sibley, straight to the man at full short leg, and there's no run.
If you recall, John Crawley was criticised, a little like Dominic Sibley, for carrying a bit of timber when he first got picked for England. And then, like Sibley, he lost so much that he became almost unrecognisable, and there was a sense in which people felt it was affecting his balance and affecting his game. Something that Jockey Wilson famously said when he went down to about 120 kilos. But
that's a strange argument in darts. I can understand that in a sport that involves a lot of running about, but I'm not entirely sure about darts. Hold that thought. As in comes Shaheen Shah Afridi. If I can get my teeth around that. Teeth being something that Jockey Wilson was conspicuously absent of, but there we go.
Jockey Wilson could only play when he was pissed, though, couldn't he? I mean, basically he had to have pints and pints and pints, and he got better the more pissed he got. And when he got worse when they banned him from booze on the hockey, and that was it. He was done.
Yeah, I think Jockey once said that he got plenty of aerobic exercise because he had to walk to the board to take the darts out.
Can you imagine if he'd had one of these? I've actually got one of those, what do you call it? Things that measures all your steps. I can't remember what they're called. Little black thing on your wrist. Fitbits, yes. Yes. I don't think they had them in his day.
Yeah.
Anyway.
The great Jockey.
It's going to be Mohammed Abbas again. none for 7 for him. He's bowling to Crawley and beats the outside edge again, although I think Crawley deliberately on that occasion played inside the line. 12 for 1 in the 8th over.
Now, what I was going to say, and I saw George the Bell banging on about this, and it's been, I think this test has been referred to the ICC about the light ruling and, playing conditions and all that kind of stuff.
Been a lot of theories about that. Whether you should have a pink ball of a similar age always ready. So I think Michael Vaughan was espousing that one. Mohammed Abbas again. Slips go down. Pulled beautifully by Zach Crawley. That's gone all the way past the square leg umpire. He had to take evasive action. 4 runs.
First of the day.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
First of 2 days, in fact.
Well, yes, indeed. Yeah, it's so easy to forget,
there was
isn't
some play
it?
yesterday. There was some play yesterday morning, wasn't there? There was about
Whole
5
day
overs.
was missing.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's just one of these games where there's an awful lot of rain, and so that's the way the cookie crumbles, isn't it?
That is indeed.
But the situation with light is a different issue. When's too
The light
dark, too dark.
can be frustrating when you have bright floodlights. I agree. 4 slips go down nicely forward. Comes Crawley pushed to mid-on, and there's no run.
I mean, we've lost We've lost 2, maybe 3 sessions from bad light, not rain related, just bad light. And I just think in the modern era that's just criminal, really.
Well, they often go together, don't they? Because
they
the
do,
clouds,
but
the clouds that bring the rain contribute to the poor light afterwards as well.
But you can get just really cloudy days. I mean, like today, it's pretty dark over. Well, I mean, this is it. As a club cricketer, the idea of going off light is ridiculous, isn't it?
Well, for a club cricketer, you're right. In comes Mohammed Abbas, right arm over left. Once more by Crawley, who's looking tidy, I think, Gary?
Yeah, I mean, my view on light is that it is absurd again, that it's not dangerous 99% of the time that they fail to play. I do think that there's a misapprehension about danger, because I've never seen a batsman hit because it's too dark for them to see the ball, but I have seen fielders lose the ball, and I think fielding in the dark can be quite tricky even under floodlights. But no, batsmen don't get hit in the dark. It's never happened.
In comes Mohammed Abbas, forward comes Crawley. Squirts away a little bit outside edgy to backward point, but he played it with nice soft hands.
The other thing that's never happened, as I was saying before we came on air, is that the wetness of the bowler's run-up has resulted in a bowler being injured as they land their front foot on the line. It simply never happens. I'm not saying these things are not a risk, but the dial is set so far one way that we lose so much the other way.
But surely that's a bit cause and effect, Gary, isn't it? I mean, if
well, the players
if they don't play because of those problems, then it isn't going to happen.
Yeah, but players. Well, I'll break.
As in comes Mohammed Abbas, and this is nicely carved away through cover. That's going to be 4 more for Crawley, who's really looking tidy. 4 more runs for him.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Gary, that's a bit like saying I avoid walking in front of a bus, therefore it's not actually dangerous to walk in front of a bus.
No, it's not. It's because some risks are accepted and some risks are seen as being part of the game, and some are not. I'll give you an example. Players will throw themselves head first to try and save 1 run on the boundary, and often collide with those advertising boards, which are pretty solid. And they all do that. They'll do it in this match, even though the 1 run makes no difference. Because if you're not doing that, you're not really a team man. You're not playing for the team. But they all take that risk all the time, and yet they will never take the risk of running in on a wet run-up.
It's Shaheen Shah Afridi who's in now. Have I missed something?
No,
it was the end of the over. Okay, I beg your pardon. Well, let's just pushed away into the onside by Crawley.
Pushed
no
down.
run. That 4 was off the last ball of the Abbas over then. That's what had thrown me.
There's actually an inside edge down the long leg turn.
Yeah, we have got some tweets coming in.
Excellent.
J Grover 2307 says, "Afternoon all. Number 2562 on my irrational cricketing hatreds is Billy Godliman. I have no reason for this."
Billy Godleman. What's poor Billy done?
Who is he?
Yeah.
You had some time at Middlesex?
Yeah,
He's been a stalwart for Derbyshire, hasn't he?
He has.
He must have done something this afternoon that's pissed Jay off.
Yeah, I'll have to have a look at I haven't really been. I've been following the middle, but not some others. This one slanted across Crawley, and thumps into the gloves of Mohammed Rizwan.
Well, Jamie Overton made 120 from number 10 for Somerset. So
I saw Dawid Malan made 219.
He did
for Yorkshire. He's finally announced his arrival up there,
paying back a chunk of that transfer fee, as they say in football. Jay Grover 2307. Billy Godleyman and me, I think. Gary's view on light. Is there a subject Naylor can't pontificate upon?
No, there is not.
No. In fact, if you're listening on Twitter and you'd like some additional entertainment, try and think of one and we'll get him going on it. As this one is driven beautifully. What a lovely off drive that was. I think it's going to evade the fielder, although possibly the rain's going to slow it up. Yes, it is. I'll take that back. So
I think there might be some rain later, just for your, looking at the rain radar.
Yeah, well, I did see there's some due round about 6ish.
Yeah.
The last time I sort of had a good look was 2 or 3 hours ago. That might have sort of shifted along.
Presumably they shake hands at about 5:30, don't they?
Or touch elbows.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, they can't.
I don't think they're allowed to shake hands.
Yeah, but at some point, I mean, if England get to 80 runs, this game is totally fried.
Are they allowed to shake hands with a gloved hand, I wonder? It's the batsmen who shake hands, don't they?
Yes, well, that's something you can hypothesise on for a while. 4 slips go down. Shah Afridi is in, and Rizwan does everything very correctly. Right on his toes, gloves beautifully pointing upwards. Dare I say it, John Murray-esque, that in his fluidity of movement and the beautiful high positioning of his fingers. I'm not saying he'd be like that every game. John Murray, I don't think, had a parallel for the elegance of his keeping, but just on that one occasion, Mohammed Rizwan very much looked the part. 24 for 1.
I read Rizwan described in a particular way.
In comes, clipped away again. That's going to go down to long leg. There is a man down there. It will be fielded. The man is Mohammed Abbas. And looks as though we're thinking about whether that's a leg bye or not, and indeed was a leg bye. He was looking to tickle it, didn't get a bat on it, so he padded it more than it tickled it.
I heard his batting described as batting like a more handsome Brad Haddin. Now, there's plenty of room for a more handsome Brad Haddin, but I did therefore look under the helmet, and Mohammed Rizwan has got the Bollywood looks, it has to be said.
Well, 26 for 1.
He's earned my respect, Rizwan. I thought he was a bit...
Yeah.
I think he's a decent keeper, and
he also batted quite superbly.
Yeah,
in comes Afridi, and forward comes Sibley.
And that was my
as
thing.
Is his wont, a prod to the onside.
Well, see, I thought it'd be a bit of a bunny. I mean, the way he sets up, he doesn't really move his feet. He goes hands at the ball and all that kind of stuff. I thought, well, he's going to be a bit of a bunny, but he stuck it out the other day and really marshalled the tail extraordinarily well.
Now, is it my imagination, or are Pakistan rattling through their overs really quickly here, even though it's their 2 pace bowlers?
Well, they might be behind the rate and therefore trying to get it back up again, as Ricky Ponting famously did at
Cardiff
overs in 2009.
I've only bowled 4 overs in 20 minutes, 18 minutes.
As I said, it might be my imagination or just a perception, or the fact that I've been so starved of cricket for a day and a half that everything seems to be going past in a blur. Abbas is going to continue anyway, and that's left alone. Gary, you were about to make a point.
Well, Pirate Badshaw says declarations, though, are primarily a tactical device for teams to maximise their potential to win. In this case, you'd be asking one of the teams to maximise their potential to lose, which is entirely different. I would venture to differ. I would say that I would be maximising the chance of England continuing a what would be a 7-match winning streak for Captain Joe Root, winning the series 2-0. And wrapping it up. So that's a prize worth having, as well as the fact that they're trying to win a test match.
Perfect. As forward comes Crawley. Back to Mohammed Abbas. No run. 26 for 1 England. Remember, they started on 7.
Oh dear, I'm not sure whether this is a good or bad thing. Gits and Gratz says, when Gorilla's greatest wordsmiths, Gary and Tony, are together, they really do inspire the men behaving badly namesakes. I know I heard it said just now, squirted down leg side with soft hands. You don't get that on TMS.
Well, you probably do, but then they'd snigger like school children, whereas we just take it as for granted. This one was a bit outside edgy, actually. I won't use the squirt word, but funnily enough, bang on cue, you could have done there, and it's away into the offside, and a slightly fortuitous single for Crawley brings Sibley back onto strike.
Jay Grover says no, referring to Billy Godliman. He's done nothing, hence irrational hatred. Gary, however, is demonstrably full of solipsistic dog shite. So there you go.
I think the cricketer is Godleman. The actress stroke comedian is Kerry Godliman. But the cricketer is Godleman, not Godliman. Yes, Godleman's the cricketer and Godliman's the actress. In comes Mohammed Abbas, left alone by Dom Sibley.
I suppose that was a case of the actress telling the bishop that one, Tony.
Well, indeed, cleanliness is next to Godliman or whatever. 27 for 1. And Crawley on 18, Sibley on 6, none for 16 for Mohammed Abbas. Remember, of course, Shaheen Shah Afridi, the taker of the wicket. A ball that, well, I'm sure England weren't exactly happy to be particularly out there batting. Rory Burns. They say there's likely to be one in your name on, with your name on, and that one certainly had his name on. As he was.
I want to say hello to our hot mic crew.
Thank you for that. Just that one is left alone again. And Bear, why don't you?
We have Warren, we have Oliver Sheldon, we have you, Raj, who says evening. Hello all, sorry. Ollie said evening. Goblins, he's a man. He says hot mic crew. More people don't use this. You should use hot mic. It's the quickest of our services, and you can sync it to the telly. It helps us out, and it's free. I mean, what more? I mean, it's genius, and you can talk to us on it. He just likes to
as you can on all of our other partners. I might also point out.
More beers, better to chat. That's true. I've had a beer. I had one of Knackles once. He's left. He said, "You can drink my beers." I said, "Oh, thanks, Knackles."
That is in again. Once again, it's left by Sibley in almost identical manner to the previous ball. 79 miles an hour. He seems to have settled, Gary, into that sort of 79 mile an hour groove, doesn't he, Mohammed Abbas?
Yeah, I think that's his. You talk about bowlers having a natural length. I think that's his natural pace. On the draw that is inevitable and forthcoming, Jeff Perkins says, surely a doffing of caps would be more than sufficient substitute for that unhygienic habit of hand shaking. Neymar Butlin says, sometimes bad light affects my enjoyment of guerrilla cricket. Then I just the brightness of my screen on my iPhone and Bob's your uncle.
And there we are, and
I like
gloriously illuminated.
I like your style, Neymar.
Unless you're Hendo, in which case you're always sort of somewhat shadowy. Yes, on Zoom, aren't you?
Colonel Kurtz, as I keep saying, from Apocalypse Now. And Warren says, of course, and you can send GC Radio Dosh on. You can tip us.
Well, of course, we always encourage that.
We always encourage that.
Okay, Shaheen Shah Afridi is going to carry on. He's bowling to Zach Crawley. He's coming left arm over the wickets, across the right-handed Crawley and through to Mohammed Rizwan, whose labours and work we had been eulogising over just a couple of overs ago.
It's funny, isn't it? It doesn't look as threatening with the sun out now as it was when they went off the other day.
Well, this is, I mean, it's so often the case, you know, day to day, cloud cover can make a massive difference. I don't know if Ian Pearce is listening to us, who watches so much of his cricket from the Rose Bowl. Ian, is it a look up or a look down ground on the toss at the Rose Bowl generally? If you're listening, let us know. Flicked beautifully away, a little bit uppish in the air, but it was through mid wicket. Is it going to win the race to the fence or sponge? I don't think it is. No. It should accrue 3 runs to England, and I have to say both teams going quite nicely about their work. It may be a foregone conclusion, but there's no real hint of it in the quality of play or the amount of effort we've seen. We saw at one point 3 Pakistan players all chasing the ball as if their very lives depended on it. That didn't look like a team not really giving too much of a stuff.
Well, they were hoping for an early wicket, aren't they? And still are. But I mean, England avoid the follow-on in 9 runs time.
200, of course, 200 is still, unless by prior agreement.
No, in 5 runs time.
5 run times, indeed. Forward comes Sibley, away into the offside, no run. England have 30 on the board. Crawley looking the more expansive, the more aggressive. We've seen a lovely pull through mid-wicket. We've seen a glorious cover drive. He is on 21 and looks to be actually quite enjoying himself out there.
He does indeed.
As we said, you can probably only have so much time in your hotel room playing Fortnite before you well, at least once you get past the age of 20 something. Probably when you're 15, 16, 17, that's a large part of your daily life. Nicely steered around the corner down to long leg, but Rizwan, as if to make the point we were making earlier, or to emphasise it, he goes herring after it in pads and pulls it short and restricts England to a single. 31 for 1. Crawley 21, Sibley 6. The 1 wicket to fall, that of course of Rory Burns, who didn't put anything on the score. Fell to Shaheen Shah Afridi, who is in the attack now, or will be very shortly. A few fielding adjustments. I'd like to tell you what they were, but we can't see enough to see it. Here comes Shaheen Shah Afridi again from the hotel end. And again, nicely waited for and steered, but steered straight to point by Crawley. No run. 1 ball left of the 6 over for Shaheen Shah Afridi. Yeah, quite a marked difference, gentlemen, in pace between these two. Shaheen Shah Afridi there about nearly 89 miles an hour. So a good 10 miles an hour faster by and large than Mohammed Abbas at the other end. A wibbly wobbly Lancashire League trundler. I don't think you use the word trundler.
No,
Gary,
trundler is pejorative, and I hold Lancashire League bowlers in the highest regard. But the one player I would want to see from any in history, and I wrote a piece called Cricket Time Machine on this, is SF Barnes.
Sydney Barnes.
He was the one cricketer I would want to see if I had a cricket time machine.
Yeah. In comes Shaheen Shah again, nicely played off the back foot by Crawley. Waited for that, got everything in nice alignment, and not Freddie saying Titch Freeman. Ring something to you? Ring a bell to you? Titch Freeman.
Freeman took a lot of first-class wickets. 5'3", spinner for Kent. I think he holds the record number of first-class wickets. But Jay Grover, making up, says, as I've said before, Gary introduced me to the Borrables, so all things are forgiven, and the feeling is mutual. Pirate Badshaw says, what is England's winning streak worth to Pakistan, though, Gary? And, of course, the answer to that is nothing. But if Pakistan don't win this test match, they cannot win the series. So Pakistan have got a very strong motivation to set a target for England.
Well, still 4 slips are in as Mohammed Abbas is in, and that's nicely worked away down through past square leg. They will take 2. Sibley on 8, Crawley on 21. Nazim Shah, the man doing the fielding down there.
I think some of this, I was scarred, and you two guys might be scarred as well. I was scarred when I started playing time matches as a club cricketer, where sometimes we would bowl 60 overs at the opposition and they'd give us 35 back, which would end up in a draw. And I was thinking, what the bloody hell have I been spending all this time on a Saturday doing this for? And then once we went to 45 overs each, it was so much better a game. Yeah. But it was just ridiculous, those time matches, very often when I was younger.
Mohammed Abbas is in again. Sibley this time.
Yeah.
Waits, plays it under the eye line.
In the Surrey League, when I started playing, it was 100 overs in a day, and the team batting first could bat 65 overs. But if you batted 65 overs, you could only get a losing draw.
Yeah.
You couldn't get a winning draw.
Some 50-year-old accountant we'd have to applaud for making 50 in 2.5 hours.
Yeah, well,
I hated it.
I didn't mind it.
From the Rod Brands Group pavilion end, in comes Mohammed Abbas. Oh, that's a little bit of movement, but cautiously watched by Sibley through to Rizwan. I was just looking at WinViz actually, because it's been adamant all day that even as the clock ticked on well past lunchtime, that there was still a 24% chance of some sort of result, but it doesn't seem to be saying anything at the moment. Am I reading that wrong? Can someone have a look for me? But it doesn't seem to have updated to give us any predictions.
Wow.
Maybe it's just given up, so it's entirely pointless just to do it. 33 for 1.
But they did change that law, though, that they brought it down to 55, which is fine,
In comes Mohammed Abbas, flicked off his toes, straight to square leg and no run.
I mean, I had nothing against timed cricket, but what I had against the format was that people abused it. You know, opening batsmen or time-honoured members who've been playing for 20 years used to go in and just make 50 at their own pace and the hell with everybody else.
Yeah, well,
that's what was wrong. That's what was wrong, not the time. If they got on with it and you know, sides made 200 in their 50 overs or 55 overs, that's fine.
But Gary, just hold that thought for a second, as in comes Abbas and tidily played again by Sibley. I mean, that's an accusation that's been levelled at professional county cricketers as well, particularly in the days when there was one division, no promotion and relegation, and players who just, you know, played the game at their own sweet time and it's right. And I had a pop at Joe Clark at Worcester, the Worcester captain, because he did the same thing in the Bob Willis Trophy last week. Batted on, set a target of 358. Ludicrous.
What, so
Abbas is going to be in again, and that one comes in to Sibley, who goes for a quick run, which Zach Crawley quite rightly wanted absolutely nothing to do with. And Sibley, well, the slimline Sibley was able to turn and get his back down. I wonder if the less slimline Sibley of pre-lockdown would have been quite so nimble, Gary.
Well, yes, he's certainly improved in the field. He's one of England's best fielders now. In fact, there's argument for this season of him being the best fielder. He has dropped one in the slips, but so has Rory Burns, and Ben Stokes has dropped 2 or 3 in the slips. So nobody's perfect. You know, just having some views, further views on timed cricket there. What annoyed me is that I bowled line and length, and they just didn't play any shots against me. So I would just be bowling maiden after maiden, and they refused to. Well, they did, because they had to defend the ball. But unless it was a half volley or a long hop, they chose not to attack it. Every team had 1 or 2 of these people.
Were you the Tim Murter of your league?
I did. I bowled a lot of maidens, always have. Even when I was a schoolboy, I bowled a lot of maidens. Got a repeatable action, just landed it on the spot, moved it a little bit this way, a little bit that way. I wasn't a class player. I was never going to be a professional. I had some tryouts for Lancashire Seconds, but I wasn't good enough. But what annoyed me is that the game would just be killed by me doing my job, which was bowling the ball on or about off stump.
Well, a man about to do his job is a new man. Well, new for this day's play in the bowling. It's Nazim Shah, who's speared this horribly down leg. And Crawley had a little waggle of the bat in its general direction, but couldn't really get anywhere close to it.
Let's have a jingle.
So we should have a jingle for Nazim Shah.
Goes like this.
When Nazim Shah left home, he said to his dad that you're the man of the house now, because Nazim Shah is just that good.
I think you're looking at that a little glass half empty, though, aren't you?
I should just point out that was a fantastic take by Mohammed Rizwan as well.
It was.
Who we're becoming quite a fan of, I think. Forward and outside edged along the ground, fumbled in the slips. I think they decided against a run, although Crawley puts his hand up to Sibley, who I suspect said, "Hey, there's a run there," because obviously it would have been his call, and I don't think Crawley took him up on it. Pitched well short.
Not Fred is sledging me on the
exactly. I'm about to sledge you. Here, listen, Gary, you're complaining that people were fucking just prodding forward. The point is, you're supposed to get a goddamn edge. You're the bowler. He's prodding. You get the edge, man. Take your responsibility.
If you just play defensive shot after defensive shot, then
in comes Nazim Shah. That's a down leg again and again. Mohammed Rizwan, with great agility, leaps away to his left.
You're complaining
when you
about
get a chance.
You're complaining
Gary,
about a batsman doing his goddamn job. He's not getting out to you. Maybe you're actually quite a good bowler, Gary, and it's difficult to get you away.
His job is to try and win the game for his team, and too often I saw batsmen who were not trying to win the game for their team. They were happy to occupy the crease. It's very difficult to get a batsman out who's got a decent defensive technique, who just blocks the ball all day, and that's what they did.
Just they were aware of your reputation and they were just being overly defensive against you, do you think?
Exactly. That's what,
As in comes Nazim Shah. That's a better ball. It's taken him 2 sighters, but that one was right on off stump and nicely met on the front foot.
I bet those batsmen have been laughing right now listening to you. They're going, "Yeah, well, you didn't get me out, did you? I mean, my job is not to get out and score runs."
No, it's not. His job is to win the match for his team.
Yeah, but by not getting out, he's on a... Yeah, I know, I can understand.
He's drawing, the match. He's drawing the match.
Ooh,
And he
hang on.
should-
Yeah.
It's a no
So
ball.
we were-
Yeah.
Another no ball by...
It's a fundamental difference of opinion that I know I'm in a minority. I'll come back to it after this
In
ball.
comes Nazim Shah again. That one is rather squares Crawley up, but it's away to the offside, no run. When you get a chance, can you bowl us some tweets as well, Gary? And,
Yeah, well, I haven't got any.
Crick Tracker messages?
I haven't got
Have a
any.
look at Crick Tracker as well.
I can't do that. I've
Lord
tried
Bear,
that.
can you
and
have
I
a
can't
quick
do
look
it.
at Crick Tracker for us?
What I believe is that everything you do on a cricket field should be in furtherance of trying to win the game. There are a few times where you have to settle for a draw. These guys were settling for a draw from the first ball of the match because they wanted to have their 39
Gary,
overs.
there is some stuff on social media. We're being reliably informed.
Well, it wasn't on
The-
my Twitter.
In comes Nazim Shah, pushed away to square leg. There is no run. I can see Leah is
There's
on with
one
us.
tweet which says, "Come on, Tony Bishop won. Everyone knows this will end in a tie. Windiz stating the obvious would be just daft."
We have Raja Rehan, Nitin Kumar, Faisal Koko, Trauji Pangas, Sajal Anwar, and they're all with us on Crick Tracker, so hello to you guys.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people actually on Twitter, Gary. Give your machine a shake or whatever it does. It takes
got
as in
4
comes
more
Nazim
now.
Shah. Ah, okay. Forward comes Crawley away into the onside. No run.
Jay
8 miles
Grove
an hour.
says, "Gary, we know you've never dropped a catch. Did you also only ever bowl maidens?" Well, I tended to bowl maidens when they were just blocking the ball back to me. Yes. But
you know, Gary, I had the same thing. I was a fairly decent left-arm spinner, but you know, and it was annoying when people defended. But that's their right, that's their prerogative, you know. And I'm trying to get them out, and occasionally you're trying to draw the man into a rash shot. Even the best ones will occasionally play a rash shot or catch the edge or get them straight on and buy them over. You can't blame the batsman for not getting out. It's ridiculous.
Well, you can't blame. I do blame the batsman for not trying to win the match. Peter Jones says, "I find it amazing that some leagues still don't limit the number of overs a bowler can bowl. Some teams only use 2 bowlers in an innings." Neymar Butland says, "I think we are making a Rizwan highlights reel here."
In comes Mohammed Abbas, who is continuing, and it's met tidily by Sibley, and there's no run.
Messenger says the batsmen were aware of Gary's reputation. Were they afraid he was going to talk them out? And Jay Grover says, "When not Fred the Bear and me are all united in sledging someone, ... Gary should get the Nobel Peace Prize." So
I would
there
imagine
you
you'd
are.
have been quite a good sledger, Gary. It would have been sort of done
Never
with
sledged.
a degree of
Never
wit and
sledged.
eloquence.
No, I used to stand at square leg sometime and engage the square leg umpiring conversation, sometimes to the effect that I missed the ball.
Abbas in forward comes Sibley. Geez, all I can say is poor bastard. I think if it had been me, I would have tried to get myself out. But there we go. I'm sure you kept him royally
umpire.
entertained, Gary.
It was the umpire. We would talk of this.
Oh, I see. You're 34 for what? You sledge players as an umpire at square leg?
No, I never sledged at umpire. When I was at square leg, or when I was square leg umpire, I would talk to the square leg fielder, or if I was square leg fielder, I would talk to the square leg umpire between deliveries.
Didn't give them sort of theatrical reviews, did you? You know, the finest
might-
Hamlet
we
you've
might
seen
talk
at the
about-
Theatre Royal Bootle.
We might have done something along those lines.
In comes Abbas. Oh, that one is left, I think, tidily enough by Sibley, but a little bit of left, a little bit of movement.
Yeah,
Needed to be watchful.
There's no Theatre Royal Bootle. There is, however, the Latham Club Bootle, where the Beatles played in 1962.
Funnily enough, my knowledge of theatres of the sort of suburbs of Liverpool in the northwest are not great.
Oh, there are many of them. Many of them.
I'm sure, well, it's a cultural hotbed.
Yeah, well, they're bingos
Oh, I'd
now.
expect there to be.
They're
they're
bingos.
Oh,
If
Lord.
they're anything, they're bingos.
Oh, Lord.
Are we
1 and
due a
8.
change at the end of this over? Even I'm fed up with me.
Again, outside, off stump and left. 3 and 4, 34. But the loss of just 1. Just to make Gary feel at home with his Liverpudlian bingo halls.
I mean, look, we've got to free associate a little bit here. I mean, the cricket's dead as a doornail. We've described what's going on, but there's, you know, we've got to talk about something other than the cricket here.
Bingo calling's a magnificent skill.
Oh, it is.
All 2 ducks on a pond, 22, legs 11. Anyway up,
89.
69. Anyway up.
And then the coup de grace.
Well, hang on. In comes a Bass. Forward comes Crawley. It's away to mid-on.
We have
79 miles an hour again. He's every single time. 79 miles an hour on the button, Mohammed Abbas.
We have a listed bingo hall in Tooting. The Granada is listed and very often features in sort of documentaries of Art Deco styling in the 1920s.
Places to avoid.
No. It's Art Deco styling. It is very
beautiful.
spectacular.
Oh, I know exactly where it is. I drive past it on my way to Guerrilla Cricket.
Yeah.
Frequently in the days, those long ago days when I used to do that. Anyway, Mohammed Abbas in again. I bet you this is 79 miles an hour. It's left on length. Did nip back in and
80.
It's 80. Oh, that little
80.
bit of extra pace from Mohammed Abbas there at the end of the over. And it's 34 for 1.
In Liverpool, when you get a card is filled bingo, you don't shout house the way they do here, or perhaps heis as they would down south. They say "Ia, ia,
Yeah.
ia," and that calls the usher over to check your cards and announce that you've won £5 or whatever it might be. It's
My favourite little meme on social media in various formats at the moment is the two little Lego Liverpudlians.
Oh right, I haven't seen
one who
them.
runs in. I'll tell you in a moment. Nazim Shah's going to be in to Crawley. Forward comes Crawley. No run. One scurries in and says to the other one, "There's been a fire in Tesco's." And his mate goes, "Asda." And he goes, "No, Tesco's."
Oh dear. Your Liverpool accent's rather more convincing than mine, Tony.
You've been neutralised or whatever by soft southern living.
YouTube.
34 for 1. Crawley 21. Nazim Shah in the attack. He's balled in an interesting way, doesn't he? So he sets off part of his run-in ritual. Forward comes Crawley. It bobbles its way to short point.
Well,
and is
at the end of this over, we're supposed to have a switcheroo.
I think we should. Who have we got lined up? I can see Jules, which will be a treat.
We've got Jules, David. It's supposed to be Jono, but he hasn't arrived yet. Not Fred's there, so maybe not Fred. Do you want to come on? Type in the chat if you want to come on. Not Fred.
Sure he will.
I think he's been hovering with just that thought in mind. He's probably, I don't know, sabotaged Jono somewhere.
Jono,
David Brooke. They're piling up. 34 for 1.
There's gorillas in the waiting room, if not
gorillas in the mist of the waiting room. As in comes Nazim Shah. And full, straight, going to bowl at the stumps, but there just isn't a movement today that's quite to the same degree. It's not swinging and hooping and jagging away off the seam, Gary, is it? It just looks a lot more easy for batsmen.
It's very easy. Jake Grover says, "I never played the game, but hearing Gary saying Baudelaire wouldn't have tried that cut shot, I'll tell you that, I would proper lose it." Well, Baudelaire wouldn't be playing the cut shot because he'd be walking round the boundary. Baudelaire was a famous flaneur who used to go out walking. And I tell you, there are some sights walking around the boundary at Putney Lower Common, I'll tell you that for nothing.
Oh, I'm sure. And this one is left alone. Is that at night, Gary, or just during the cricket?
All day.
When are you walking around the boundary edge at Putney Lower Common, just so we know?
Well, it used to be Saturdays from 2 till about 8, and I was very often on a perambulation. Unlike Charles Baudelaire, I was not composing poetry and delighting at the wonders of modern life. But I was,
as a cloud.
I was talking to whoever would be willing to walk around with me, and believe it or not,
talking to anyone who couldn't get away.
There were one or two takers on occasion.
34 for 1. 34 for 1. Nazim.
Oh dear.
It's going none for 1 from him. He's been economical so far. He's only in his second over.
Knackle has a very strange taste in beer, man.
Who does?
Knackle.
Oh, is that what he's? What is it? Well, hold that. Let us know that in a minute. As in comes Nazim Shah, nicely flicked away to mid-wicket. There'll be a single for Crawley. It'll bring Sibley back onto strike. What beer has he left you then?
Well, he left me a wheat beer, but it wasn't
a
sweet.
Wheat beer.
Yeah, but it wasn't.
Thank God I'm in Claygate and you're in Sydenham. That's all I can say.
It was a bit odd
the
tasting.
effects of that would be frightening.
And then there's this other thing called Northern Monk, which is tropical world. I don't know, it tastes
Northern Monk.
Fruity. A bit weird.
Northern Monk. Wow. Okay. So sort of don't want to get into the habit of drinking that.
halfway between cider and beer. It's a bit odd.
1 ball left, I think, probably of my stint, from what I think. I'm pretty sure. And that's left and through to the estimable Mohammed Rizwan, who's my new favourite keeper of the innings. And I think we're due for a change. I believe it might be not Fred and Jules. Gary, you've been magnificent. Bear, you've been. And I shall see you all later, probably.
Okay. See you in a bit. All right, Jules. All right, Dave.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm all right. I've sat here for a lot of time doing nothing. But it's okay. We actually have cricket, even though it's pointless cricket.
Well, it might boost Sibley's ego / confidence and help out Crawley a bit. So, hey, it is what it is.
Exactly. All right, David.
It is what it is. Mohammed Abbas. And that is Crawley out to mid-on. How did you feel the time during all the rain breaks then, Bear?
Sat and watched telly.
Right.
Flicked between the movie channels. Read a bit of the paper online.
Yeah.
That's about it. What else am I going to do? I can't. The thing is, I don't like leave. I could go home because it's not far away. But I just don't like leaving everything on.
No.
And not being here.
Yeah.
So, I just sit here.
Yeah, it's tough because you can't go too far. It's a bit like if you're in the hotel overlooking this ground, you can't go too far.
What's that?
Abbas bowls to Crawley, and that's played out, and there's no run. 35 for 1. Oh, Crawley's giving a wave to someone. He's waving. Is it? Must be to a member of the team. There's no one else there. Someone moving behind the bowler's arm.
That's a bit weird when there's a... Oh, no, it's a door.
It was a door.
I suppose you can go out and take the dogs for a walk, can't you, and all that sort of shit.
Well, in the great countryside there, yeah, exactly. Indeed. 3 slips for Mohammed Abbas as he bowls to Crawley. And that hits him on the pad, or slightly higher than the pad. And there's no run. Beat him for something, move the ball in. Jules, hello.
Hello.
Jules, how have you been spending the time during all the rain breaks?
Well, I've actually been scoring cricket matches for the past 2 days. That's one way of occupying some time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, you're like me. You're a you indulge in the recreational game at weekends.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely right. And
what happened in those games? Do tell.
Abbas and covers up goes Crawley, and there's no run.
I think we've got Jono due in shortly, so he can talk you through what happened on Saturday, blow by blow, in a very excitable fashion.
Hold on, were you watching the same game?
I'm the scorer for our Wimbledonians, and he's the captain, so I'm sure he'll enjoy telling people about the heroics on Saturday.
Does he ever give you a backhander for next few runs on his score? Oh dear,
I want to make a controversial comment here about a certain bowler. No, it's a short answer. You can't get away with it in this day and age in the game.
Crawley faces up to Abbas, and that's outside the off stump. Lead lets it go.
And then yesterday was a very lovely sedate game over in Tunbridge, which was Arabs versus Yellow Hammers, which are 2 Kent touring sides. Do the game every year, and the usual highlight is actually the teas because the cakes are phenomenal. But obviously with COVID restrictions, there was there should have been a distinct lack of cake. But the other scorer, the ever lovely Brian Rodwell, his mum baked this amazing fruit cake, so that was consumed throughout the afternoon.
Yeah, God, I guess that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, some of the games you only play because of the teas.
100%.
Abbas bowls and Crawley lets that one through, and that's the end of the over. 35 for 1.
There's always a club you go, oh yeah, we're away there this year. That's handy. Our teas were always crap. Sorry if you're listening, but our tea lady, I hope she's not there anymore. It was all white, sort of Iceland shit. It was not good.
Yeah. Well, we all bought our own sandwiches along yesterday, thinking it was going to be a sad case of social isolation at tea. But a couple of our players, Sri Lankan players, turned up with a supporters club from the Sri Lankan Cavaliers. They had a whole van which they'd stocked full of really nice Sri Lankan snacks. So it was a real carnival atmosphere. This new over from Nassim, and that's outside the off stump to Sibley, who, as is his wont, plays no shot. He's at 8 from 42 balls. Sibley's taken the opportunity here to get in some much needed practice at not scoring any runs.
Yeah.
I think he might try one or two of the shots that he's been encouraged to play.
Well, he's never going to change, is he? I don't want him to change. I'm happy with him doing this, you know.
Here's Nassim Shah in, and again just on the back foot. Yeah, so tea turned out to be fairly glorious, unexpected pleasure, because it was all these little small bites, Sri Lankan small bites, all very, very spicy.
Ooh,
And
really
in fact,
good.
Basil, my dog, got the shock of his life when he did his usual scavenger act, and yeah, it was a bit spicier than perhaps he intended.
How does a dog react to spice? I'm quite intrigued. Does he just start running around yelping? Trying
Yeah,
to
he started
find
running
water?
around like a mad dervish. Nassim Shah running in now to Sibley, plays that on the outside onto mid wicket and takes a single. I mean, in some senses, sort of bringing your own tee is a welcome relief from some of the shoddy tees that you do get on the circuit. Not least tees down in Brighton at Palmer's. They leave a little bit to be desired, I have to say. Make your own sandwiches. The bread is there, the baguettes. Then you have to add your own
filling.
Topping, yeah, add your own filling. I mean, the fillings are there on the table, but you have to physically add them in. And I just crave just sandwiches cut into triangles or something like that would be nicer.
Yeah. Spencer used to have an amazing tea, if I remember rightly. There's one place we went that had fantastic teas, cream cakes everywhere, beautiful sandwiches, little, quality sausage rolls, all that sort of
It's
stuff.
Shah, and Sibley swings that. Crawley plays that shot down to long leg. That swings, fielded on the boundary, and deserved more than that. It's only going to get 2, I think. And any sign of a declaration from Joe Root?
Never. Are you insane? We're having this argument. I mean, Gary's going into this weird world where we should contrive to make matches happen, which is basically backhanders a la Hansi Cronje. I mean, why would England throw away a 1-0 lead series, even put themselves in a position? You're not going to put yourself in a position you could lose from being in a position where it's completely dead. That's just madness. That way lies. The same way that he was saying that it was the batsman's fault that he never got any wickets because he bowled loads of maidens and then got upset because no one played in his shots, neglecting the fact that he might actually be quite good, and it's your job to nick the batsman off as well. Yeah, that's sorry Gary if you're listening.
Going back to cream teas, Justin Langer tells that story about when he played for Middlesex. After an unsatisfactory session in the field, he noticed a couple of the younger players running off to be first for tea for the cream cakes. Yeah. And apparently Langer was very pissed off about this and took the cream cakes away and said, "That's it, no more cream cakes," breaking the Gatting tradition. Nassim bowls and plays and misses outside the off stump. Does Crawley, but did a little bit. She had a little bit of a smile from Crawley there. Just swung away and nearly took the edge of the bat. So at least Crawley playing an attacking shot.
Well, yeah,
the outside edge by much.
I like Crawley. He plays shots all around the wicket. He does look to get on with it. That was a decent ball, though. Let's be honest. It went off the seam. It was very full, enticing the drive, and then nicked off the seam, beat the outside edge. I don't know where Jono is.
Maybe he's
You're
just
doing an
spot out of
admirable job there in his absence. Here's Shah, and he's going to bowl the last ball of the over to Crawley. Plays it one-handed back to the bowler. That's the end of the over. England are 38 for 1. Jules, are you going to have a look at the social media?
I will absolutely look at the social media. So Dr. Dan has tweeted in a picture, or an impression, I should say, of Zach Crawley batting. So we will retweet that. Derek Willis asks, any chance they could convert this into a one-day match? I mean, you could argue for a T20, but that goes back to the whole Hansi Cronje, whether you're going to do a dodgy deal, and I don't think Joe Root looks good in a leather jacket. Leah, Bitchfinder General, has said, on the point of knuckles tasting beers, a little over a week until I escape the land of wheat beer drinkers. Yay. A few people that might disagree with that. being fans of wheat beer. And Dave Wood said, things you expect to hear on Guerrilla Cricket, number 476. Knuckle has an odd taste in beer. We'll come to some more shortly.
Yeah, keep us entertained with your tweets, please. Otherwise, we may suffer from lack of action. I don't know. I'm just trying to predict this because Sibley's on strike. Let's see what he does in this over. He could surprise us all. And Shaheen is running in to bowl to him. And he does play a forcing shot there. Gets it off his legs, down to long leg. And there's a couple of runs there for Sibley. That's one of his 3 scoring shots. Bet.
Well, it is. You can't bowl there to him.
No.
But look, Cookie had a whole career on 3 scoring shots, and look where that got him. So
yeah, knighthood.
Exactly. I'm quite happy with that. Warren on hot mic. I'm going to interject on Warren. He says talking about cricket pet hates. He played in New York City, NYC, and anything that wasn't hitting the wicket was called a wide. As right arm outswing bowler, that was most annoying. I can imagine that was.
Shaheen over the wicket to Sibley, who actually pokes at that one. There's a little fish, and looks up at the sky as if to, and then goes for a little walk, recognising his mistake. Won't do that again, will he?
Well, England have avoided the follow-on. This game is now officially dead, basically.
If it wasn't an hour ago.
Well, no. I mean, that was that was a slim possibility, wasn't it? If they could enforce the follow-on, then possibly they could bowl us out again, you know.
Is this part of your desperate attempt to drum up ratings, Bear, by declaring the game dead, even though I can still see Shaheen running into bowl? It's clearly still alive. Sibley plays a shot there on angled to the bat, and he's going to get a boundary here down to third man. Let's give him the benefit of the doubt. Let's have a tasty jingle. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I think that's my bet in the bag, Dave.
What's that?
I think I went over the fall of the next wicket.
That's good.
And I don't often go over, but I was thinking the ball isn't moving around. This game is quickly going to drift.
Well, you're a shrewd judge, Bear. Requests from some listeners to know about your bets in advance rather than when you've actually won.
Okay, well, I'm going to go over the fall of the next wicket again because it's probably.
There you go. Don't say you haven't been told. We'll come back to you for the details of that after this delivery from Shaheen. Outside the off stump leaves the lone Bear. So what are you betting on now?
I'm going to go runs at the fall of the second wicket, England, over 66.5. I think quickly that's a small margin as well. And they were giving the thing was I had a bet hanging over from when they went off, when it looked like wickets were going to fall to every ball, and they were offering 17.5 runs for the first wicket and 16.5 for the second, even when they had 1 run on the board. So they were thinking a wicket was going to fall, so I thought a wicket was going to fall, so I bet under, and I lost that first thing this morning, and now I think England look quite settled.
Sibley, again, it's a forcing shot from Sibley, well, rather a push into the covers, and they are going to get a single. So Sibley must have heard my cajoling. He's raced up to 16 and Crawley's on 24. 45 for 1 left in this over from Shaheen. So the bookmakers must be fearing you now, Bear. Surely with any cricket bets, they must think it's Bear on the line. Refuse to bet.
Like all things, Dave, stocks can go up and down. And
well,
I made a shitload of money in the second ODI against Ireland and lost it all in third.
Right.
Betting on the same strategy that I bet on the second. Or the other way around, I can't remember what it was. But, yeah.
Let's see, Crawley, it is on strike now, and this is the last ball of the over from Shaheen, who's going round the wicket to him, and unsuccessfully because it's outside the off stump. Crawley lets it go. England 45 for 1. Bear gets his money, and Jules keeps us updated on the social media.
Jose Oki has said, a Guerrilla Cricket afternoon, what is the point in this? Only in cricket could a meaningless 2 hours be played. Have a competition for the most pointless cricket ever. The Jersey Jingler, fantastic name. I said, David, we see that keyboard in the background. Give us some live jingles. That would be quality. That could occupy a bit of time. Jose has also come back and said, I think Naka is a good tasting beer, adventurous. The bear obviously doesn't live on the imbibing edge.
I like my beer to taste like beer, not fruit. That's all, you know.
I tell you, Bear spent all the 90s living on the edge. I'll tell you about it if you want. Nassim bowls, and that's played out by Sibley, a no run.
Falling over the edge is probably more apt.
You were down there at the Hacienda and all that, weren't you? Manchester?
Yeah.
Manchester? Weren't you part of that scene,
yeah,
Bear?
I used to go to Hacienda. It was fun, I'll tell you that. I don't remember a lot of it. I also remember that. Well, don't remember that, as the case may be.
Was it on the edge?
Oh yeah, I mean Manchester back then. I went to the end of Hume. This was like this massive housing estate, and it was grubby, and they kind of knocked it down while we were there. It's very strange times.
Nassim bowls, and that's beaten Sibley outside the off stump, taken by Rizvan, no run. Manchester.
It was crazy. Good times, man. Good time to be alive. Unlike now. Well, no, I'm not saying it. No.
Unlike now. You say that to the students of today.
Yeah, well, students thing is very different now, though. You know.
Yeah. See, government U-turn is predicted for 4 o'clock this afternoon on A-level results.
Oh yeah, well that wouldn't surprise me.
No.
Although I have to say, no, not entirely, because I've heard some very strange things. But you'd have thought statistically.
Is Shah, and that's played out by Sibley to mid-wicket for no run.
You could make a pretty good algorithm for this situation with all the data that's available. Going back over years, if you really, over 10 years, you could probably get, schools could tell you all their predicted grades over that period. It could all be entered as data, and then you could see how correct they were quite easily by past performance. And so it should be a reasonable exercise to be able to predict grades. Now, obviously, you're going to get anomalies because that's how maths works, but
Just got to interrupt you for a second, Bear, with the exciting development. Slip has come out and gone to leg slip. It's now 3 slips and a leg slip. Actually, they brought in a leg slip for me, Bear, yesterday. They're trying to block off my favourite shot, which is a little flick off the legs. And I was disappointed to see, a leg slip and a square leg in there to blocking off the shot.
Well, the leg slip, you'll probably think is actually a man on a 45 at our level.
Is it 45?
Yeah.
On the
stopping
45.
the single.
No, he's leg slip, isn't he?
Not
and that's outside. That's not leg slip?
Well, not really. It's the man on the 45 is at our level can be about 15 yards away. It's not a leg slip because no one's fast enough.
Oh, I see. But it's leg slip in the context of this match. There's no run from that ball from Nassim Shah for anyone scoring this in their scorebooks.
Just as I was getting in touch with Jono on WhatsApp, he's appeared. And so he will take over from me, and I'm going to go off and put some food in the microwave. I'll see you all later.
Okay, thanks very much, Bear. Appetising evening meal plans there. And Shah outside the leg stump. Oh, that gets a lot of bounce from that, putting his back into it. And there is no run. Welcome to Jono. Hello, Jono.
Afternoon, gents. How are you?
Hello.
Oh, hi, Joel. Sorry, I couldn't see you. I hadn't changed. Put everybody on the screen.
That reminds me of that Python sketch where the guy goes, hello, miss. He said, what do you mean, miss? He said, I'm sorry, I have a cold.
Ah, dearie me. Yeah, Jules and I spent some time together on Saturday. She was fully to thank for our win.
Ah, yes, the old Wimbledonians. We're going to hear about that in a moment. As the last ball coming round the wicket, Nassim Shah to Sibley. Sibley plays that angle bat again. He finds the gap between third slip and gullies. Another chase for the fielder, and he's going to get another 4. That's the end of that over. 49 for 1 off 19 overs.
A few tweets before we go into the heroics of Saturday. So Anna Forsyth has said pointless cricket is still in cricket, and it's making the start of my week a lot better. Plus, the
thanks,
weather in Kent said a Middlesex game looks set fair too, which is all good news. Farong has said, if a batsman didn't play any shots when I was bowling, my solution was simple. I'll bowl at your head or rib cage. And cheers from Dhaka. And Brandy helps you to forget what time of day it is. So that obviously is in relation to the time cricket discussion that was going on about half an hour ago. And Jeff Perkins is with us. Hi, Jeff. He says, I can see dead games. Again, I think that's all to do with the timed matches. Gary Naylor, despite the fact he's no longer with us on commentary, has come back in on Twitter and said you would have enjoyed all those draws in the 1950s and 1960s, Bear. Is Kenny Barrington your hero, batting 40 overs to make 50 in a club game that produces 170 for 4 declared after 60 overs versus 147 for 7 after 40 overs, while I have figures of 14 overs, 8 maidens, 12 runs and 1 wicket, and that makes me a villain. So again, I think this just goes on with the timed cricket debate. Jay Grover has said, I can't tweet anymore, I'm too traumatised by the idea of going out for a walk and a smoke and then hearing a seismic crunch on the bench next to me and hearing Gary say, well. And Jen Rowe is with us. Hello, Jen. She says, evening rebels. I've had to cut down a bunch of cherry trees as they're gravely ill. Ooh, sounds a bit traumatic. Any suggestions as to what I should smoke with the wood besides pork and onions?
Few things spring to mind. Virginia Slim? No, Virginia Gold. Isn't that the old Holbein? I'm trying to answer the three. Yeah. Oh, there's drinks. So we've got time now because there's drinks. John, we're going to talk about the Jono. We're going to talk about the world of top quality elite club cricket now. Old Wimbledonians. Tell us what happened on Saturday.
All right. When you said you were going to talk about the world of top quality elite club cricket, I thought you want to be talking about someone else, not us. No, it's all Jules' fault. We got 20 points. We won. On Friday, Jules texted me and said, because of the weather, why don't we try and talk the opposition into a T20? Because obviously Mark, Jules' boyfriend, is the scorer at another club in our division, and they've done the same. So I managed to talk the umpires and opposition into an early start on a T20. Rolled them for 85 in the pub by 3:30. Nailed it.
Win.
Brilliant.
Well, that's a satisfactory outcome to finish an afternoon match at 3:30.
Well, no, we finished early in that. We're in the pub by then.
Oh, I see, right. I'm always a bit disappointed when a game finishes that early.
Yeah, well, yeah, we lost.
Why was it necessary to play a T20 rather than a proper game?
Just because that the impending weather.
Right. So did the heavens open while you were in the pub? No.
Not really. We probably could have got a full game in, I think, but.
And were you allowed to sit as a team in the pub? Because when we play down in Palmer's in Brighton now, we are restricted to a table of 6. And in fact, I went in with a cricket bag and I was stopped. Stop! Are you going to sit with those other cricketers? And I was, I was almost ejected. They don't want any groups of more than 6.
We tend to maintain social distancing until we've had our 15th pint, and then it all kind of goes a bit awry. But yeah, another good win. So we currently sit second in the group. I think.
Well, you get 4 points for a T20 win.
Yep.
Shaheen, new over outside the off stump, and Rizvan takes that. Indeed, not Fred says I've been chucked out of yet another pub. That's just about the size of it. First time I've ever been thrown out for walking in with a cricket bag.
Normally it's just for baiting people, is it?
You should.
David, in brackets, argumentative, close brackets, but Brooks.
Just the room for an argument. Right, Crawley's a study of concentration as he waits for Shaheen bowling over the wickets, far too wide for Crawley to have anything to do with. A bit of a wasted effort on Shaheen's part there. 50, I missed the 50 being up. I should have celebrated that. England 50 for 1, and the partnership of course is 50 because the first wicket fell at no score. Rory Burns. I wonder if they shook hands when they got to 50. Or are there occasions where you don't acknowledge a 50 partnership just because it doesn't really matter?
I mean, today's nothing but a glorified net, is it?
Seems that way I guess so. So there's always jeopardy though. If you get out in the nets, no one cares. Whereas if Crawley gets out now, a lot of people will be saying, is he the genuine article? Let's that one go outside the off stump. I mean, there's only jeopardy for Crawley, isn't there? Sibley's done enough to keep his place, but Crawley will want to stay in, won't he? Even though it's dead game in that sense, he'll want to stay in.
You think so? In our house, we have constant arguments about it. For some reason, my wife doesn't like his face, so thinks he should be dropped. Whereas I tend to concentrate more on his ability, so I think he should stay.
High level of debate in your household, Jono? Don't know, I suppose. Here's Shaheen. Oh, and that one jumps off a length, and Rizvan has to jump in the air to stop that ball. In fact, it's so high that it's been signalled a wide.
The level of debate in my house tends to be a similar level of debate I get from Jay Grover on Twitter. And he's just constantly winding
Are
me
you
up.
goading Jay? That's
No.
always that may not be a wise strategy.
He's too tired to tweet now, isn't he? Hasn't he been out for a 100-yard walk or something, and he's been gunting. They're not quite as tough as they used to be, these Yorkshire fellas.
Well, it was the prospect of the idea of a walk, I think, that was producing that reaction. I don't think he's actually been on one. Here's Shaheen. That again is very wide outside the off stump. I can only think that this is a deliberate strategy to keep the runs down, because it's 2 or 3 have been incredibly wide, and of course the short bouncer was very high and was actually called a wide.
What is the current situation in terms of time left, overs left?
Well, it was 56 at the start of the day, wasn't it? 56 to bowl.
Okay.
I'd have to check how many overs there was at the start of play. Was it 8? Was it? Here's Shaheen, and on the back foot goes Crawley. This is the first one he's been offered in his area, so he does play that out into the off stump. And there's no run. Going to keep you up to date with the county scores, because there's a lot more interest going on in some of the Bob Willis Trophy matches. Sussex incredibly have taken 6 wickets against Essex, much to surprise of many Sussex supporters that rather given up on the idea Sussex ever taking a wicket after that match against Kent, where they took 1 wicket to Kent's 20 in the game. Mark Wood sitting on the boundary, looking for him quite glum. Shaheen bowls again, reverts back to his previous policy of firing it as wide as possible over the wicket across Crawley, and all Crawley can do is leave it. Wokes is looking a lot more cheerful and animated, but Mark Wood was looking a little bit glum. Has he dropped down the pecking order, do you think?
Who's that? Mark Wood?
Yeah.
Yeah. You'd think that they'd either play him or Archer, wouldn't you? But obviously neither in this test. I don't know if they expected it to swing, and so give Sam Curran a go. It's such a plethora of fast bowling options at the minute.
Here's Shaheen. Crawley has to play at that, just plays it down to the offside. That's the end of the over. 20 overs have been bowled, and England are 51 for 1.
So Jeff Perkins says, sounds like Dave needs another session with Toby to open up another scoring option. Jay Grover has recovered from his consideration of an impending walk to talk about the Hacienda. He said the Bear will be pleased to know that the mushroom collecting at Longshore is still a beautiful community of gatherers. Neymar Butler, on the subject of the Hacienda, says, Bear, what years were you there? Both my brother and my sister at the University of Manchester, and it was fantastic there in the 80s. Dr. Dan has done another impression. I do have visions of his house just being full of pictures that he's drawn. We'll come back to tweet shortly.
Yeah, the impression of this man who's... Oh, no, it's not. It's Mohammed Abbas, the impression. And it's Naseem Shah who's bowling. Outside the off-stump. Again, it's wide. And Sibley lets it go. Yeah, Dr. Dan makes these lovely portrait sketches capturing the movement and everything in the matches. This one is an impression of... Is it Mohammed Abbas, Jules?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I went to Hacienda 90 to 93.
That's quite a long stint.
I was there for 3 years. It was 3 years that I don't really remember very well.
Yeah, that time you left, sir. Have you had enough to drink? Is Naseem, and that's bang on the money. A straight ball, which we haven't seen for a while, played out to mid-wicket by Sibley, who's on 20. Crawley's on 24.
And where does Josie Oakey tweet in from? He says it's okay for you lot, but pubs have been closed here since bloody mid-March, and they'll reopen tomorrow. But guess where I'll be tomorrow afternoon? So sorry, where was that?
He's in Joburg. He was in Durban. So it's actually Oak. So it's a South African thing. You know when you hear Nelly and Clint call each other Oaks all the time?
Outside the off stump, and Sibley lets that go. Yeah, just a quick, just talking of club cricket, Jono, if I can just slip in a mention of the Mid-Sussex League. The August Cup was held, is Sussex's answer to coronavirus. Belated start to the season, so all the clubs get to play in the August Cup. Good innovation from Sussex. And, Palmer's had a good victory there. As Shah and Nassim bowls outside he covers up, that's straight, and Sibley covers up, plays that one down against Preston Nomads. Lovely ground in the Sussex countryside. Palmer's winning on a Duckworth Lewis after rain showers interrupted the game at about 5:30 or 6 o'clock it must have been. So a good win for Palmer's, and big shout out to a couple of the Palmer's boys who are listening to this broadcast. James Knight, the skipper, who's in quarantine after a mid-season trip to Spain, and he's hoping to be back out this weekend. And hi to Rob, who's looking good for the batting cup this year. Outside the off stump, Sibley lets it go, no run. Very much an attacking left-handed batsman. John, I haven't seen you bat. How would you describe your own style?
I'm kind of, you say almost maybe a hybrid of Ponting, Kohli, Tendulkar and Hayden.
Right. It's like a super group. If you were
Don't rate yourself too slowly, will you, Johnny?
Or maybe I'm more of maybe a Freddie type.
Right. You got it all. You got it all covered.
Well, apart from the block.
You got it all covered.
Sometimes the runs.
There's Jules. I hate being on with Jules because she knows all my deepest, darkest secrets. It's awful. The octopus, here I am.
Hey, it's effective. It gets you wickets.
Yeah, it's got to be quite useful to have 8 legs on a cricket field. Although you must be a prime LBW candidate. Last ball of this over from Nassim Shah, who bowls to Sibley. Tucks that one off his legs. The Sibley scoring shot down to deep square leg, and they take a single. The end of that over. 21 have been bowled in England, of 52 for 1.
On the subject of Jono's batting, Jay Grover has said something nice. He said, "I've seen Jono's club record. The man seems far too competent to be a gorilla." Congrats on Dave's 61 though.
Oh, thanks very much, Jay. I did slip that one in. Yeah, well remembered. I did get 61. Yeah, thanks for mentioning it. 12 boundaries, Jono. Only 2 of which were scored against the 14-year-old.
Quick outfield.
It was a really quick outfield, actually. Yeah, it was. Just a quick update on the Sussex game. Sussex 194, Essex 119 for 7. Could have got big odds about Sussex in that game. Find out who's taking the wickets in a moment. I think it was Stuart Meacher got 1, and George Garton got 2. Here's Shaheen to bowl to Sibley. This is new over, and Shaheen is bowling over the wicket to him. Ducks out the way. Sibley, no shot offered.
David, talk to me about Palmer's. So I'm unaware of them, but I know I spent a couple of years training with Brighton and Hove, and know Preston Nomads, who are a very good side. Some of the lads down there, but I don't. Palmer's is I know like Three Bridges, East Grinstead, Eastbourne, etc. Palmer's I've not heard of.
Well, Palmer's is one of those rare teams that is was actually formed as a social grouping rather than being named after a specific location. It's actually named after the pub landlord at the Western Star, Jeff Palmer. So it was a team that originally a social team. Here's Shaheen bowls another short one, angled across Sibley, and there's no run. Yeah, so originally a social team, and now it's really grown into big club plays. Two teams in the Mid Sussex League on Saturday. Moment got fantastically strengthened by a large number of Afghan players. There's a big Afghan community in Brighton. And we've got some really great players who've come through the sort of tape ball experience of playing in Pakistan. And so it's really a good social team. First 11 captain James Knight, hard-hitting, left-handed pinch-hitting batsman, averaging over 50 this year. Shaheen to Sibley, pushes that one out into the offside, and there's no run. Yeah, so good, very good social team. That it's the Red Mouse is the team mascot.
All right, lovely. Just reading Jay Grover's response to my goading, which I'm not sure Jules will be able to read out on air.
I might move swiftly on. I think
Yeah.
from that one. It's a bit pre-watershed.
The
Post
banter
watershed.
stuff.
Yeah. Sibley facing up to Shaheen. That looks for his trademark shot between the slips and the gully. This time it goes to point, and there's no run. So Sibley remains 21, Crawley 24, England 52 for 1.
Thomas Pullett has asked the question: do we think England will change the team for the next test, or keep the incumbent team, given this match is essentially a dead rubber? What do you reckon, guys? What would you do?
I'll let Jono take first shot at that, whilst I think of my answer. Sibley in that strange position of his as he waits for Shaheen, who's still bowling this over the wicket to him. Angled across, no shot.
Well, there was theory that Jimmy would get rested. I don't think they'll rest him. Will Sam Curran play? Did he do enough in the first innings to just he should keep his spot? Probably not. If Archer's fit, they might choose Wood. I think they'll probably make a couple of changes. I think the batting will stay the same. Obviously, no Stokes, so Crawley will keep his spot. But yeah, I think the bowling attack may change slightly.
You're saying if Archer's fit, Wood may play?
No. I'm saying that I think they'll pick one of those two.
Oh, one of those two, yeah. And that squares up Sibley. Almost some interest there from Shaheen, who raises an arm, looks towards the umpire, but nothing else happened there. End of the over.
And what about yourself, Mr. Brooke? What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, Jofra, he'll be getting a bit worried. There hasn't been a lot of cricket in this match, obviously, and so will he be, has the rotation actually taken effect? Will it be a return for Jofra? Will he have to sit the next test out? Ollie Robinson was called up into the squad because of all the biosecure things. He's still with the squad. Be nice to think he might get a game, but Mark Wood surely must be his turn now. If it is rotation, he's still in the squad. Surely time to give Mark Wood. That's what I would like to see. Change of bowling, Bear, and we've got a little bit of spin for the first time. It is Yasir Shah who comes in. Oh, he's just rehearsing his ball there. I'm only getting selective audio here, Bear. Did you? Was there a musical ditty there? Oh, there was.
He's got a googly to admire. Fucking hell, it's Yasir Shah.
Oh, brilliant. Hearing Brooksy have a conversation with a jingle, that's been the highlight of my month.
Yasir Shah. And that's played and missed Crawley. Yeah, I was conversing with the jingle. I thought it was fair. It turned out to be the jingle. Yeah, that's why I couldn't make it. Yeah, wasn't making very much progress with the interview. Crawley, Yasir Shah right on the money there. Crawley's defensive, and there's no run.
So here's a question, and there's been a lot of reporting on it. Would you bring Ben Folkes in and have Joss Buttler in as a batter?
Ooh, well, I mean, the chance of that happening would be very minimal, wouldn't they, now? Because after that last test, surely. Down the wicket, and Crawley shows some intent here, lofts the ball over mid-off, and is this going to go all the way down to the boundary? Yes, it does. This is almost as good as my car radio. I'm hearing the jingles only at sort of, half volume. But great shot by Crawley, came down the wicket, and that was a stylish off drive. Again, he goes for his shots here down to a deepish mid-on, and they're able to run through for singles. So nice bit of batting there from Crawley to brighten up this afternoon. Yeah, I think the chance of Ben Folkes coming in, I mean, after the last test, after the first test against Pakistan and the Joss Buttler's heroics in that partnership with Wokes, hasn't that put the Folkes thing to bed for the moment, given Folkes' lack of runs? Unless he scores... I don't think he has scored a pile of runs.
Dave, mate, it's not the runs we're worried about, it's the wicket keeping and Don Bess's place in the side.
Right, okay, now you're talking. Shah, out the back foot goes Sibley, and there's no run. Yeah, no, I'm going to turn the question on you, Jules. I think you've thought this one through. What changes would you like to see in the England team for the third test?
Ben Folkes. It's a short
For Don
answer.
Bess. Ben Folkes for Don Bess. Got it.
No.
Right.
Yeah, that's not exactly it, is it?
Yeah,
Mr. Brooks?
and that
Let's
one
have a
spins away
disband.
nicely. Sibley lets that one go. Jules, you've got time to expand on that with England 57 for 1 at the end of that over. Tell us more.
So there was quite a good article online yesterday. I think it was on Cricinfo, where it talks about the impact of having a not so good wicket keeper behind the stumps to a spinner, and obviously the effect of what that would have on Don Bess's place, because actually a lot of the drops have come off his bowling. I don't think England are in a position where they're going to drop Don Bess anytime soon, but it is actually going to impact on his overall stats when you reflect on his career. Now, Jos Buttler, I think, is worth his place in the side, but as a batter, we haven't got Stokes in the side, so I would say move the batting order up. Folkes can bat, but he's a bloody fantastic wicket keeper. Get a wicket keeper in the side and save those runs. It makes absolute sense.
Stop making sense, Jules. In the
That's
words
what I'm here
of,
for.
in the words of Talking Heads, and that's down to on the offside, and there's no run from Crawley. Yes, well, no, you can't argue with that logic, I guess. And Ben Folkes is presumably still in the biosecure bubble, so he's still at the ground.
Yeah, I mean, he's wheeling bags around. You have the best test wicket keeper in the world right now running bags around for the England side. It is utter madness. Why is he not playing?
Yeah, no, that's quite a fall, that is, isn't it? To go from wicket keeping to bag carrier.
He should
Crawley,
never have been.
no, Shaheen outside the off stump again. It's too wide for Crawley to be interested. I see Middlesex against Kent. Middlesex 269, Kent 63 for 3. Two men with England representation. Billings and Denley are the not out batsmen. Denley 27, Billings 4. I bet the Middlesex crowd, not Fred and Tony, will have something to say about David Malan scoring that double century. Darwid Malan, I should say, against Bairstow, and he scored 22. I see for Yorkshire. Darwid Malan with a double century in that match against Notts. Here comes, I'll just check the opposition if I got that right. Here comes Shaheen, and that's played out by Crawley into extra cover, and there's no run.
Not to play Lancashire because
Sorry, Yorkshire are playing indeed. Yorkshire versus Derbyshire. Yorkshire 400 for 6 declared. Derbyshire 112 for 2. Darwid Malan scoring. What did he get there? 219.
Who's it against? Derbyshire.
Yeah.
That's only worth 16 against them.
Derbyshire top of the North Table, man. They're a vitalised team. Crawley on 29, Sibley 21, England 57 for 1. And because we're in day 3, of course, of the Bob Willis Trophy. That one is short but angled across. Crawley's having nothing to do with that. Warwickshire 121 and 58 for 5. Somerset 413 for 9 declared. That incredible 9th wicket partnership, which you heard about that, Jamie Overton's innings, Jono. What happened there?
I haven't heard anything.
Oh, right. Well, that was an incredible. That was an
He's not called
extraordinary.
offside.
That was extraordinary what happened in that match. I'll just tell you the details in a moment. Somerset were in trouble, and then Steve Davis 123 not out, and Overton batting at number 10, 120, including 6 sixes and 15 fours. And that's nice shot by Crawley, brightening up this afternoon. It was a glorious shot through the covers, making Anna Forsyth's point. That is not pointless cricket when you got shot and stroke play like that. Jamie Overton, 120 with 6 sixes and 15 fours for Somerset. Grubby and Annie will be very happy, and our other Somerset fans, of which I'm sure there are many.
But in fear of after this ball,
After this ball, which I think may be my last, I don't think it's going to be Crawley's last. He's batting really well now. He's on 33. He's getting in, as they say. Shaheen bowls to him. He goes for a pull. Oh, that was a bit optimistic. Doesn't make contact with that, but good attacking intent from Crawley. All credit to him. He's on 33. Sibley's on 21. I think there's going to be a change now, and we've got coming on to ball by ball. He's checking his chat things. Jono will be moving across into the ball by ball studio. Tony's coming back on social, and the Bear will be back. So Jules and I will take a well-earned break.
Well earned. Well
Well-oiled, probably, rather than well-earned, but there we go.
Oh, Mr. Bishop, what a pleasure as always it is.
Hello. Hello.
Consider of upsetting Annie Chave. It's Jamie Overton that bowls the slightly less effective Trundle than his brother, isn't it? As Yasir Shah in and left alone outside the off stump by Dominic Sibley, there will be no run.
It's Jamie that's off to Surrey as well.
Ah, okay. As my puppy's going absolutely bonkers chasing something around the living room wooden floor, which isn't off-putting at all.
Not good for a floor either.
Yasir Shah, that is a lovely shot from Dom Sibley, who runs down the wicket and works it way through mid-wicket for one of these.
1, 2, 3, 4. I did fear with Sibley how he was going to score against the spinners, but against Yasir Shah, but he's done all right, hasn't he?
A lovely shot. So turns out not Fred is actually not called he's not Fred.
Well, exactly.
It's a secret normally.
Yeah, it's a secret normally. You're not supposed
before you broadcast it to the world.
This time Sibley works his way onto the back foot and works it out through third man. There's a long chase on for, I think, Fawad Alam, as that's picked up just inside the boundary, and they will come through for, I think, 3.
That was my bet in the bag. Boom. Told you. Yes, and that was confusing when I was doing the World Cup last year, and Fred was on that with me, but he'd gone out to the Caribbean and introduced himself to Barry, who I was doing it with, and of course his real name was used, and that's how Barry knew him. And I kept going to Barry, Fred. And he'd go, who? And I go, yeah, you know him as, yeah, but for me he's not Fred, you know.
Brilliant.
I never use his real name.
Yasir Shah now 1.3 overs, none for 12, and that's a better length ball, maybe slightly short as Crawley just sits on the back foot and punches this out to a deep backward point for 1 run. A good weekend, Mr. Bishop. I haven't seen you since Friday, I don't think.
Well, obviously, most of yesterday was spent until they finally called it off, watching the rainfall and the bad light, and then waiting to see if I'd actually do any cricket commentary. But yes, I went to a very good 60th party as well. Suitably socially distanced, I might point out.
Yes, sir, in again, 5th ball of the over, and that is just covered up. Big stride down the pitch by Dom Sibley, back up the pitch to the bowler. There is no run.
I went to pick up my daughter from her friend's 10th birthday party, and there was a party there with lots of adults, some good food too, I have to say, but it wasn't particularly socially distanced.
The endless taxi run.
Yes.
And again, the back foot by Dom Sibley, that's picked up at backward point, and there will be no run. Completes the 25th England 69 for 1.
A few messages then. Jeff Perkins, some tweets are less post-watershed than post-bloodshed. There's one from you here. Do you want me to read yours out, Jono?
Yeah, people won't really get it. It was in response to Jay's earlier, maybe not
something
so
about, at least I do it on my private island, purchased from the proceeds of my work in the illegal turtle trade. Well, that doesn't sound good. Jay Groover, the king of the Sheffield dance moves. Jay Grover, I beg your pardon, Jay. And so Brooks' descent into madness is complete. Nakul Pandey can't stay away. He just can't stay away, can he?
What?
He says, this will be tropical smoothie IPA from Northern Monk that I left in the fridge.
Yeah,
the
it will be
delicious.
Yeah,
and the brewery are good people.
It's a bit too fruity. It doesn't taste like beer, man. It tastes like kind of, you know.
And it looks like the comedy bowling is about to start.
Yeah, it does indeed. I better put over on the fall of the next wicket, or is it going to be a case of shit takes wickets? And this man's going to bowl, which is a bit weird.
Sean Masood was born in Kuwait in October 1989. Less than a year later, Saddam Hussein invaded. Coincidence? Yeah, you keep telling yourself that.
And food in, and he bowls a floaty dobber, half volley, a foot outside off stump, and Crawley says, "Cheers very much. I'll have an easy run 2 there." Thank you very much, sir.
Llewellyn Cave. Llewellyn Cave has been in touch. The other day we were playing jingles. He says he's still waiting for a Brian Close jingle. Low expectations, worry not. I don't think I'll ever get made, Llewellyn.
Sound very muffled, Bear.
Yeah, no, we've had that.
Sean Masood, that's a better length ball, and Crawley just covers up and plays it out into mid wicket for no run. This kind of this strikes me as what my bowling might look like.
Well, hang on a moment before you completely do him down. He has a bowling average of 22, a best of 146, and he has bowled 78 Test balls before today. Make that 80 now.
And again, full floaty half volley length outside off stump, left alone by Crawley.
So he's bowled 6 overs.
When you say before I do him down, did you think I was doing him down by comparing him to me?
Well, you've rather implied that. His 1 for 6, by the way, was Dean Elgar, which he got at Centurion. South Africa went on to win that by 6 wickets, though.
Was Elgar on 340 at the time?
He was on 50, actually. Exactly.
Masood's in again now, and that's it's not so bad. The deep point out there, just for the slightly wide back of length one, and Crawley utilises that fieldsman as he moves to 37 with a 1.
He's listed as right arm fast medium as well.
Like, you know, at 72 miles an hour, he's not.
Well, no. We were amazed earlier at how the consistency of speed of Mohammed Abbas, 79. I think he really put his back into one and got it to 80 at one point. But just about every other ball he bowled was 79 miles an hour. That's some nifty keepy-uppy skills from... Is that Joffre?
Yeah, that was Joffre.
Leach is food in now, 5th volley over. Oh, and that just does enough to beat Crawley on the outside edge, but bounces 18 times before reaching the keeper, such is the pace of the delivery. But again, there will be no run.
It's amazing how different this ground is now that the sun's out, isn't it?
Well, I was thinking that. I mean, if this had been the weather had been like this all the way through, you might have said nailed on draw for the Test match just because of how little the wicket is doing.
That's doing enough.
Yeah, he's with cloud cover. As Masood in now to complete his over, that's just a length ball, and just watched harmlessly by through Dom Sibley, and that completes the over. 72 for 1 from 26. Would they and should they quickly before we go to tweets have both declared and then turn it into a 1 innings game, or are England just completely happy with the draw and then we go to the 3rd game?
You're 1 up in the series.
England are completely happy
Keep it
with
that
the
way.
draw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
There's
Although
no point in putting yourself in any kind of
atmosphere.
danger here. You just chalk it up to a bad experience. The rain fucked it up. And, you know, looking at this, why would it...
As you see Shah in again, and that's a full ball pitch, probably on leg stump, but there's obviously not enough rough to create any serious turn, and Crawley just blocks that into the onside. There will be no run.
I mean, you say 72 for 1, you know, if you lost it from here, you'd be very upset with yourself, wouldn't you?
Yeah, fair. See, they're just practicing his release in his hands as he's in now to Crawley, and that's worked away off the back foot, but just fielded well by the backward point fielder, and there will be no run.
He gets very rosy cheeks, doesn't he? Crawley.
Yeah. Classic posh boy.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Crawley charges down the wicket, misses it, and as does Rizwan. So yeah, stumping opportunity. Maybe it's catching or not, as the case may be, with both keepers in missing relatively straightforward stumping chances. You think?
I don't think he didn't get an edge on it, so it was a stumping, not a catch.
As Shah in again now, that's a slightly shorter ball, punched off the back foot up to a mid-on. There will be no run by Zach Crawley.
Yeah. Quite a bad miss, really, for the keeper. You'd expect at this level to have them taken, I suppose, but...
Yeah. Sharon again now, 5th ball of the over, and Crawley unsure whether to go forward or back there, eventually decides on back and just blocks that into the offside, picked up by the point fieldsman, and there again will be no run.
Yeah, he did him in the flight on that one, and he'll be upset that he didn't get the wicket. I'm not, however, because I went over 107.5 for the fall of the next wicket.
Sharon again, and that's just worked out into the offside through that vacant point region by Zach Crawley. He moves on to 38. That completes a 27, 73 for 1. Trial by 163. Tony?
Yeah, Knackle went on to say, I got disarmingly drunk disarmingly quickly when I went to their tap room in Manchester. Got so drunk he kept saying disarmingly, apparently. Jay Graver said Jules is wise. Messi Jez says Jay demonstrates how to not bother the scorer. Very good. William Francis says looks very much premeditated to come down to the last wicket against Yazir. Last time here he became less and less effective as the series went on.
It's true. Well, he doesn't really bowl a googly very much. He doesn't have that as much as other leg spinners.
Here I am, proving that I can be in two places at once. Currently bowling at Zach Crawley, in past the wicket. Let go of a full bunger, and he's just absolutely twatted me past mid-on, and it's gone for one of these. Do you remember when we were covering this South African thing and I kept referring to Pretorius as nothing but a clubby?
Yeah.
I think we've picked someone in every series so far that I've taken an instant dislike to and just written them off straight away. Yeah, it's slightly unfair perhaps. As Masood in, and that's left alone by Zach Crawley outside the off stump.
Well, you can't say that about his batting, don't you? He got a fabulous 150
He did.
odd.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
But yeah, his bowling is clearly a part-timer, isn't he? Average part-timer at this level.
2 test wickets at 22 is really not bad either.
Wow.
Although I
He's bowled
don't know
6
when the other
overs.
one was. We know about one of them, but I don't know who his other one was.
He's on there to tantalise the batsman, isn't he?
I'll have a look actually. Just out of
Darren
interest.
again, and that's punched away off the back foot, but well fielded at diving extra cover, and there will be no run.
That was quite a nice shot. He's playing quite freely here, Crawley, isn't he? And it's quite pleasant to watch.
Really talented. He's a really good player. He's young, allow him to breathe himself into the side. This will do him a load of good. As we said, it is like a glorified net, isn't it? So, time out in the middle in it, playing international test cricket.
All goes on your test average, no?
Well, yeah. He's pick outside edge over the like a 4-slip region, and that's moved away to the boundary for one of these.
His other wicket was Aidan Markram. They bowled him at Newlands.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Kind of decent wickets. I mean, do you think now that Pakistan go, we're not going to bring back Mohammed Abbas, we're just going to let this fucking drift, and we're going to save him, and he's definitely playing the next game? I mean, this is the thing. We were talking. You guys were talking earlier on the last stint about rotation, but no one's. We looked at how many overs they bowled yesterday. I think.
Sharin again. That one's not back at Crawley, and it's in what looks like his back hip. Don't rub it, as they say. Don't rub it. Never show pain. But that just drops down into the offside, and there is no run.
I mean, looking at yesterday, all of England's bowled. I mean, Jimmy and Broad bowled a total of 27 overs each over the course of 5 days, and haven't done a lot else. And Curran and Wokes only bowled 18 and 19 respectively. So, is there a case for rotation, or I think Curran's place might be again in jeopardy? Didn't look particularly effective here.
As Shah Masood again into Zach Crawley, who punches that away off the back foot out to that deep point fieldsman, Fawad Alam, or George Bailey, as he will now forever be known. And that completes, moves Crawley on to 47 not out. That's 82 for 1 from 28.
Have we said hello to a number of people on YouTube? I won't say them all over again if we have. Kate Eleanor, Alex Marmon, amongst them. Well, hello to you. Thank you for joining us there. Who do we have on Crick Tracker? Umar Nazir, Shahid Hussain, Shajist Shabu, Mark Long. Well, I think we know Mark. Hello, Mark. Thanks for popping up there. Someone who, I'm afraid I can't read the name, saying this is like radio, and yes, it absolutely is.
Yeah,
You're quite right.
That's correct. Well done.
Sharon to complete another over, and again through that vacant point region, Crawley works it away off the back foot, and they will come through for 1, moving himself to 48. making it look a lot easier than the circumspect Dom Sibley, 28 from 76. Crawley now 48 from 92.
I don't mind that. Let him play his game. Crawley's going on.
I'd go along with that.
Yeah. So what do you do for the next test? What's your bowling attack going to be? Are you going to switch out Curran for Archer again, and that's your only change?
As Shah in again, better ball this time to Sibley, who comes up and blocks into the offside for no run. I think that Curran will make way for Wood or Archer.
I think it'll be Archer back in. They might give Woody a go, I suppose.
Archer.
Depends on the wicket. I think if it went as Shah in again, better length ball and just pushed solidly out into the offside short cover for no run by Sibley. Look, the wicket for the next test will have had a fair bit of rain on it. So is it going to dry out in time for spinners to come into it? It might be that one that's 2 across from the one that they're playing on now that we can see. But it's going to have some serious drying out to do over the next couple of days. Sharin again, much fuller ball this time, and that's worked out just wide of that extra cover fieldsman by Dom Sibley, and they will come through for a 1.
Is that the wicket that was used against the West Indies?
Well, possibly. I'm not sure, but it will be one of those. They would normally cover it, wouldn't they, with some kind of green matting? But I'm not sure if I've seen any of that on the square.
No, exactly.
There isn't any green matting. It might be that 1-2 to the left. As Sharin again now and just worked off the back foot to a square gully, deeper gully by Crawley, and there is no run.
Yeah, see that 1-2 to the left looks like it's been used reasonably recently.
Yeah, it might be one of the two directly to the side of this current pitch, which has still got a fair bit of grass on it that they might just start to cut down as soon as they finish today. Stick the lights on it overnight to try and dry it out a bit if there's no rain. As Sharin again this time. Simply goes back to this, but it almost dies on him. He manages to chop the bat down on it, and it just works away for no run. That completes the over.
Peter Lloyd says this has all the potential of the Alistair Cook Test bowling era.
Yes.
Jay Grover says, Tony, stop recommending excellent books. I'm getting brassic. Bear, you long-haired, skinny, short arse owes me. Your long-haired, skinny, short arse owes me backsheets from 1993. Not Fred, given your hideous past, I'm not surprised you're ashamed of your real name. Jono is mint. That's all. There you go. Well, there's a decent. There's a summary for us all.
Are you backsheets from 1992? I didn't know you in 1992.
Jay Grover says, what? This is radio, you bastards. Well, it is. It is. We have to keep explaining that on Crick Tracker.
Masood in again and fended at by Sibley, who just works away off the thick outside edge down to Yasir Shah at Gully. There will be no run. I don't know what I've done to deserve that from Jay Grover. That's comfortably the nicest thing he's ever said about me. I'm very, very flattered.
Jay's fickle.
Tony pulled a face as if to say, I don't know what you're talking about. As Masood, and again, that was a bit of movement through the air away from Dom Sibley, but left alone, and Rizwan tidies up. There will be no.
A serious question, because I haven't played club cricket for years, although I watch a fair bit. If he was opening for a decent Surrey League team, he'd be scary enough, wouldn't he, Sean Masood?
Not at Prem level. That's Dob. That's absolute Dob.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, Prem the lads are bowling early 80s, mid 80s, I think. As that one's left alone again by Sibley.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, 70 miles an hour is.
Well, fast medium is, as I said, how he's listed on Crick Info, and he has got his 2 at 22, but that doesn't look very fast medium to me. He looks like he's maybe he's capable of more, and he's bowling within himself.
Taking his right shoulder out and not told anybody. At Prem level, that's still wobble. Can you get rid of him? As Shah Masood in again, and that again is left alone by.
You get rid of him? That's harsh, just for being a bit too slow. Is that what you said?
No. Sorry, I'm talking about the dog.
You're talking about Shah Masood. First minute, the poor chap's bowling too slow. He's only bowling 70 something. The next thing is, can you get rid of him? I think it's very harsh.
It can be quite cutting in my judgment. Nothing. These clubby international cricketers.
Yeah, we're not having that sort of nonsense put in front of me while I'm commentating.
As he's in again now to Dom Sibley, and that's worked away well by Sibley out through mid-wicket, and they will complete a easily run 2. Sibley on to 31. Yeah, sorry, the dog's creating, and the groomers I don't think cut his nails the other day. So on a wooden floor, he creates a right load of
Scratches it up.
Nah, well, yeah, we only rent, so it's not our floor.
I'm a landlord. Fuck you.
There's Masoodin again now. Left alone by Sibley. Shoulders arms to this one. That goes through to Wizwan.
Wizwan Bam, going to make you my man.
So it completes a 30, 86 for one, trial by 150 if we were considering a result.
So Jules reckons that any time after 6 they can call it.
Oh, I see. The old handshake job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fist bump or the elbow
So I'm
touch.
sure they will do it 1 minute past 6.
Yeah. Well, it's pointless, isn't it?
Yeah, it is totally. Well, you know.
Bear, have you been keeping us up to date with Hot Mic there?
I have indeed.
So Llewellyn Cave telling us it was 115 here yesterday. Is that new?
Oh no, that's new. Yeah.
All right, I'll read that for you then.
Darren again. Oh, that has turned from a full length. Bless you, wife.
That's not the dog that time.
Not the dog. That was the wife.
Okay. That's a sneeze.
I'm scratching, but it was a sneeze.
Dog's got the sneezes, and the wife needs her nails clipping. It's all go in the Jono household.
Oh, carnage. As Shah's in again, and that's punched back up the pitch. Ooh, thought about having a shy in what can only be really deemed to be a friendly this afternoon, so that seems all a bit unnecessary from yesterday's Shah. Maybe he's still pissed off at Rizwan for missing that easy stumping chance, taking it out on Crawley. 16 from 4.2, unusually expensive, you'd say, Shah. The field's been brought in almost to try and stop Crawley from getting his 50. And then he bowls a rank long off the Shah, and Crawley just whops him through mid-wicket to bring up his 50 and one of these.
There's not one boy for me, I must have 2 or 3, I need 4.
50 runs, you're 50 runs. Well done, well done, well done, well done. 50 runs, you're 50 runs. The job is only just begun.
Yeah, as Crawley looks to get very aggressive with that. Looked like a googly out there, and he tries the slog sweep, gets a thick kind of bottom edge out to the square leg, and they won. What a disgusting delivery that was to Walter Crawley when he brought the field in.
Absolutely.
And properly dealt with. Reminds me of Tony Bishop in his pomp, that kind of shot.
What, just stand and deliver?
Well,
minimum footwork. Just slap it away to mid-wicket.
All of these boundaries he was hitting the other day. As Sharon again left alone, slightly less turn this time, left alone well by Sibley. Boundaries the other day. He must have been playing. What was that tabletop cricket game we used to play? World Cup cricket. I think he must have been playing that. Or was it playing on like a glass outfield or something? But 61, he was saying he got. Sharon again now, and again left alone by Sibley. Rizwan did well to take that. It looked like it stayed very low as he went through to him, or he just made a meal of it. As we now watch some of the shots from Crawley's 50.
Well, I'll just catch us up. Llewellyn Cave, I didn't read all of his message on Hot Mic, which doesn't time its messages, Bear. That's its only weakness. It was 115 here yesterday. He said, thunderstorms at 1 a.m, still 85. Please email a good night's sleep. And will Bess play the next test? What do you think? It's going to depend on the pitch.
Yeah, I think it depends on the conditions of the pitch. With so much rain having been knocking around, it would have been under the covers last night when that massive storm went through. So it shouldn't be too wet, you'd think. I can't see him dropping him. I mean, look, he's been unused in 3 innings so far, hasn't he? 3 TFCs.
Well, yeah, that's true.
In the side just in case. The other option is to keep Curran in to create some footholds for him. But then you'd be looking at dropping one of the 3 right arm seamers if you're archering. There's a Abbas in, and that's an LBW. And Kettleborough has given Crawley out. First ball of the new spell from Mohammed Abbas. I imagine they might review this. Down the chat in the middle. I think it hit him on his back leg, but yeah, they are going to have a look and see.
Looks pretty plumb to me.
If it hits pad, it's pretty plumb, I thought. I thought it's a little bit of outside edge, but maybe that was just I wasn't looking correctly.
Some bowler, this lad, isn't he? For his 79 mile an hour.
Oh no, that's as plumb as fucking plumb can be, mate. There ain't no question about that.
Unless he unless he thought he got just the faintest of, it would have been an outside edge, not an inside edge, onto his.
Oh,
back
I think he did.
pad.
You know, I think there's a snip there.
We're about to see.
No, there ain't.
He's only missed it by 2 inches.
Yeah, don't
No.
know. I was being hopeful. That's as plumb.
That's
height. Maybe he's out of his crease just because it's a bass. So they may think it might save him on height.
oh, umpire's call.
But yes, that will indeed see the end of Zach Crawley.
On your bike, mate.
Yeah. So reviews. Well, we've got a little bit of time.
Yeah.
We've seen some pretty selfish reviews, right? I don't care whether you're on 0 or you're on 53. Don't review it for the sake of it because you feel like you've earned one because you've got a few runs.
Well, I raised this earlier in the
instance,
series.
Great.
That was a fair review, that one. Umpire's call. England haven't lost the review.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's not a great example. But like Sibley, when in the first test of the first innings of the first test of a Bass, he's hitting middle halfway up, and for some reason he convinces Joe Root that he's going to review it, and it's 4 reds because it's hitting middle halfway up. That's a selfish review for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And I mentioned this earlier when we were playing the West Indies. I kind of think there's a different mindset because they've got this extra review, and it's kind of like, ooh, we got a freebie. So if they use one up frivolously, they don't mind. Then they kind of think about it. It's kind of interesting, the dynamic of adding, because I'd always advocated an extra review, but now I'm kind of against it because it does give you a free pass essentially.
You know this extra review that they've been given.
Yeah.
It's because it's not. They're not new. Although they're all neutral umpires in theory, but because they're both English umpires.
That is
that's the premise,
stated reason for it. Yes.
So why have England got an extra review?
Well, that's interesting, isn't it?
Because if they're doing it because they're both English umpires, surely Pakistan should have one more than we do. Don't just
Or West Indies or whoever we were playing. Yeah, no, I get it. That's
I
actually
get
a
it.
really good question.
But then a statistician might say, well, actually, then they might have what do they call it? Positive bias to give England out, so that they don't feel that they're being biased.
It's to reduce the chance of error. Because if you didn't give them both the same number of reviews, you would effectively be going, there is definitely a degree of bias we have to compensate for, which would be a bit of a slight on the
Would be a slight on the umpires, yeah, totally.
Yeah. But I mean, it's a fair question. I take your point. Not the best of timing, but still a wonderful picture. Dr. Dan has sent a picture of a lovely picture of Zach Crawley hitting a 4 from Yazir Shah's first over. Mumat says damn. I don't know about what. I'm assuming rain forecast for the Friday. That's what Mumat's saying damn about. Peter Lloyd. They may actually declare at 5:51 to end it as well. Muttley, pleasantly surprised to hear you. I was expecting a washout. Sorry if I'm late to the party. Neighbour was over for some 9-ball pool love and sausages. Okay, afternoon very well spent. Well, I don't know. Tell us more about your neighbour, Muttley, and whether 9-ball pool is some form of euphemism. We doubt it. We doubt it.
There's a bass in now after a successful first ball of the over, and that beats Captain Joe Root on the outside edge through to Rizwan for no run. He's some bowler this lad, isn't he? Regardless of bowling 79 miles an hour, he's a bit like Jimmy in that respect. I mean, Jimmy had some quick deliveries in the last inning, but
well, the stumps are always in play when he bowls.
Yeah.
He tends not to drop a short one and try and send it 3 feet over your head. He's not really, doesn't come around the wicket and spear it in at your ribs. He just keeps working the stumps, and the batsmen have to work very hard to deal with him.
It's the bowler one that's in the top of off stump, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
You should do it more often. Bass in again now, and Root kind of steps to him down the wicket a little bit. but that's well fielded at mid-wicket and there will be no run. Has anybody, and this may have happened, when facing a bass in the 2 tests, has anybody been told off for encroaching into the danger area?
How would you define the danger area?
You know the red zone on the pitch that bowlers get told off for running into.
Oh yeah.
Batsmen also are not allowed to enter that unless they're charging. So you can't start so far out that a forward defender will bring you into it. I'm just because they stand quite a long way outside to him. As Root tries to play that off the back foot, but missed it. And it seemed to hit Rizwan. In the side. Looked like it's too easy. I think the wicket seems to be dying a little bit, and that's. You have to take that on the bounce.
That kept very low.
And
shocking.
then it kicked off the ground, didn't it, as it went through?
Yeah, it doesn't look like wicket keeping's been that enjoyable in this English Test summer, does it?
No. A lot of keepers struggle here.
Apart from Josh De Silva, who made it all look easy. The Bass in again, and that beats the England captain on the outside edge. Thoughts of an appeal from behind the wicket. But yeah, I mean, what a bowler this lad is. I think he's fantastic to watch.
He is.
Horrible to face, but fantastic to watch.
He's just always nagging at the stumps, as you say.
He's Glenn McGrath meets Tim Murtagh. Got sort of merged together.
The love child thereof.
The love child of Tim Murtagh and Glenn McGrath in the form of Mohammed Abbas. That, by the way, is some compliment.
Absolutely, yeah. There's Abbas in now, but he's over and he's done Joe Root again. They're appealing. I think that it's obviously hit something. I don't know if it's hit the back thigh pad of Joe Root on its way through to the keeper. Azhar Ali looks like he's not interested in a review. That completes the 32nd over in 91 for 2.
Jay Grover says, this comment means nout, but listening to an interview with Dom Bess this morning was very impressive. Brackets the interview, not my ability to listen to it. I didn't hear that, Jay. Can you give us a wee summary of what the thoughts of Dom and what he said?
Well, it's interesting, isn't
it? Whether there's any clues about if he thinks he's playing in the next test.
Well, I mean, he didn't bowl in the last test. He didn't bowl in the first innings here. Did he?
He's sort of becoming a bit of a utility player.
Well, exactly.
He can probably hold up an end if he needs to come in late in the order.
Yeah, but surely you're better off giving. I mean, if you've got Crawley in, so you've got the extra batsman now, and if you really don't going to use a spinner apart from about 5 overs, you might as well use Root for that. If it's just to get you through to the old ball, etc., etc. I mean, Root's got
another batter.
Well, you've got your batter and Zach Crawley, haven't you? He's the extra man in the attack.
It's Shah in, and that's just blocked back up to a short mid-wicket by Sidley. There is no run. I no. What I mean by that is obviously Crawley's come back in to replace Stokes, but if you then don't pick Don Bess, what do you do with that other spot? As Shah in again and driven back up the pitch.
Yeah. Do you need another bat? I mean, the thing is, do you need another batsman? I don't think necessarily we do.
Well, do you pick Ben Folkes to keep and leave Butler in as a batter?
Ooh, there's an interesting one.
That's been debated a couple of times.
As Shah in again, that's left alone. Again, threw low to the keeper, Rizwan. Easily left alone by Sibley. There is no run. Because that way, in theory, you're lengthening your batting lineup in a game that we only have to draw to win the series.
Well, then I'd possibly.
Oh, that stayed low as well, and played away through to a square cover by Dom Sibley. Again, no run.
Well, then I might drop. I might drop Bess and bring in either Archer or Wood, and leave Sam Curran in.
You go with a 5-man attack, pace attack.
Yeah. West Indies would do it.
Shah in again, and that's played up to mid-on, and they scamper through for a quick one. Shaheen Afridi absolutely launched that unnecessarily at the non-strikers end, and almost takes his skipper out.
I mean, it's nice to have a spinner, right? But in English conditions, often you don't need a spinner.
Yeah, but a 4-man pace attack has bowled him out for 230. I don't know whether I don't think a 5.
Well, no, yeah, but Sam Curran's a batsman as well. He's an all-rounder, isn't he? So I'd quite happily have him at 8.
Yeah.
You know.
Oh, what? And then go Archer or Broad Archer Anderson.
Yeah. So you got Butler at 6, Curran or Wokes at 7, and Curran or Wokes at 8. Archer at 9, Broad at 10. That's pretty fucking solid to me.
Yeah. But then you've just got the extra pace option.
Yeah, but this is what I mean. But if you're only going to bowl 5 overs of spin anyway.
As Sharon again played off the back foot defensively by Joe Root, that's picked up by the pump fielder, and there will be no run.
And that's generally, because you think your same bowlers are doing it, they're knackered towards the end of the new ball, and you just want to give them a little bit of a break. Part-time bowler, Root can bowl himself for 5 overs, and then get the pacers back on. And with 5 pace bowlers, you've always got someone who's spare, who's fresh.
Mm-hmm. Put your hand up, Tony, I think.
That's all right. Well, anyway, Muttley has updated us on his pool partner. Was finally put into social housing in July last year. For the most part, I kept myself to myself. The lady upstairs, who I dog sit for, introduced me and another neighbour, as we both like pool and keep to ourselves. Turns out he loves fishing too, so it's nice to make a new friend. Brilliant. Well, I hope you've also introduced him to us, Sir Muttley. Does he like cricket? Let us know.
As Mohammed Abbas in now to Dom Sibley, who got sent out into short mid wicket, there will be no run. So is Muttley one of those dogs on the photos that, with the snooker, playing snooker? That you see in pubs? The photos of dogs playing snooker? I wonder if
Muttley was Muttley from? Fucking hell.
Not a genre I'm particularly familiar with, dogs playing snooker in pubs, Jono, but if it's your choice of reading matter or photographic material, that's good to know.
Muttley was Wacky Racers.
Oh, he was.
Stop the Pigeon.
Yeah. And he used to talk about that, didn't he?
As Abbas now into Dom Sibley, currently 32 not out, and that's a full ball just played up. There's a very short, straight mid-off in place. Just drift one pops a little bit. But again, there will be no run. Jules obviously struggling with autocorrect on our group chat. Wacky braces.
Wacky braces. Wacky backy.
Seen some of them as a teenager. I'm not sure that was the cartoon we were referring to.
Wacky braces. Brilliant.
It's all right. I don't need it to be bright in the week. It's only on a Saturday when she's doing the cricket numbers that I need her to be on top form. As Blast in again now, and that's down the leg side, and Sibley giving it caught down the leg side off Mohammed Abbas, caught Mohammed Rizwan.
And suddenly everything lightens up with not enough time left in the game to make any fucking difference at all.
I won't look back, 'cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
Third time this summer.
Is that all 3 digs Mohammed Abbas has got Sibley out, is it?
No. Strangled down the leg side though. I think third time this summer.
Masood Shah got one, and who's the other one that got one?
No, Sibley was out. Was it twice against the West Indies down there? Or
Yeah,
maybe it's
it was
once
LBW to Abbas in the Old Trafford Pakistan test for 8, and then Yazir Shah got him Quarter Sad Shafiq for 36.
Yeah, I think.
But it was a bit of a loose shot, really.
No, well, that's what I mean.
Satisfying, are they? Those leg side.
It's been pointed out that he might have a weakness down there, and people target it because he has been strangled out quite a high percentage, considering how many Test innings he's had.
Farong says, my only change for the third test would be one or both umpires, or start the test at 10 p.m. to take bad light out the equation. Probably not a bad idea. Jay Grover says, I read filth for a living, and even I find the coupling that would produce a Mercer McGrath offspring horrible to contemplate. Well, there you go.
Oh, the bowler.
Horrible to face.
Well, you know what? We never played the England Skippers bloody jingle, so we're going to have that.
His voice is high pitched,
and we're also going to have.
But massive runs he has hit. So there's that. Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root.
Introduce yourself.
Joe Root, I see.
We got a poke. We got a poke. Take a good hard look at Solly.
Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run.
Introduce yourself. Joe Root. Introduce yourself. Joe Root, I see.
Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now to Ollie Pope, who just got that to the run. Pass in now
Yeah, it's just a little tickle down the leg side as you watch the replay. I didn't think he'd hit it, but he obviously knew he had. Yeah, there it was. It was almost off the face, wasn't it? His back is so closed going down there.
And a long way from his body.
I wonder if he's ever been caught and bowled off the leading edge.
Interesting.
One just stops on him slightly because he does play with such a close bat face and he just comes back off the leading edge straight to the bowler.
Yeah.
He was also reaching for that a bit. If he'd have let it come to him and played it a bit later, he'd have been fine, but he was pushing forward.
Bass in now, and that's worked up to mid-on by Ollie Pope for no run. Bass, two for virtually nothing, I think, since he's come back into the attack. Certainly leads the line for the Pakistan attack, doesn't he?
Yeah.
This shot, Naseem Shah. What do we think of him so far? I don't think we've seen the best of him, have we? He's obviously a very exciting prospect, this young 17-year-old. But I don't know if his pace has been up during this test. As Abbas in again, and Pope works it up to mid-on for no run.
No, I think it's one of those things where, much like with Joffrey, everyone expects so much, because they start off in such, amazing fashion. That the expectation is really high, and actually, it's a trade you still have to learn. Being a test bowler, you can have raw pace, you can have good movement of the ball, but it's doing it consistently and being able to work out. This is the top end of the game, isn't it? You've got the best batsman in the world, and it's fine getting your average, county pro out. It's the next level up where you've got to bowl at someone like Sangakkara or Joe Root or Kane Williamson. Trying to work them out is a whole different bloody ball game, mate. So it's the next step up, and he does have talent, and I'm sure he'll learn and he'll be good.
As Shah in to the England captain, that's a full ball pitch on the stumps, but solidly blocked up to the back to the bowler by the England captain. There will be no run.
But this ground looks completely different when the sun's out to how it's been played.
It looks lovely now, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It looks quite easy to play as well. The ball's not hooping around. It's not diverting massively off the seam.
We do, of course, have two batsmen here, both on naught.
Yep.
Had two very well set batsmen.
Back to that and blocks it back up the pitch to the bowler. If one of those does stay low, then Skipper could find himself in a bit of trouble standing right in front of all three. But thus far has managed to survive.
That's what worries me about Root.
As Sharon again now, and that's off the back foot, worked away through backward point by the England captain, and they will come through for a well-run 2 runs.
It's how he gets his runs, but it's also how he gets himself out a lot of the time.
Yeah.
He likes to go back and play deep, watch the spin off the track. And occasionally it does him.
Yeah, if one just stays slightly low, then he could find himself in...
Yeah, and that does happen. The thing is, I guess it allows you to score more freely, because anything slightly short you can capitalise on.
As they're showing again now, and again the England captain plays a similar style stroke, but picked up by the advancing backward point fielder, and there will be no run this time.
I guess he's not the kind of player. He doesn't come down the track that often, does he? He's not a big hitter over the top.
No.
So this is how he accumulates, and he's a good sweeper, very good sweeper.
As Shaw now in again to the England captain, and that's Fuller this time. Looked like it came out the front of the hand, that one, just kind of pushed through a little bit quicker. But maybe at 54 miles an hour, suggests maybe not, but that's just blocked into the offside, and there will be no run again. 34.5 gone, England 94 for 3. Burns going for a duck, and Sibley and Crawley both with useful contributions. Route 2, Pope still yet to score as Shah in again, and the England captain looks to play one of those sweeps that the Bear was talking about. Makes a complete hash of it, misses it, and it goes through to the keeper, Rizwan, for no run.
Left his foot behind nicely there.
Yeah.
Let me see. Muttley says, yep, that's right, Wacky Wasters and Dastardly and Muttley in their flying machines. I bleeped out my owner as he was mean to me and we don't speak of him. Jay Grover says, I think you should commentate this in IPL style. Oh my god, maximum! A catch! Now the game is on! Who is it? Danny Morrison, isn't it?
Danny Morrison. It's a DLF maximum. Shut up, Danny.
Yep. Smooty has sent a picture of dogs playing snooker. this is the genre referred to. Also poker they play, apparently. Quite a talented bunch of dogs.
My kind of guy. As Mohammed Abbas now into Ollie Pope, who just blocks that one back down to Sean Midoff. There was a fella I used to play cricket with who watching the way that Abbas bowls. Jack was slightly quicker than him, and he won't be listening. I think he lives in Poland now. But there's a guy called Jack Snape, a Brummie lad who played at Wimbledon. He could do all sorts with it. He just got outswinger, in-swinger, and I've just seen him clean up so many and make just absolute magician with the ball. Watching people bowl with that much skill is an absolute pleasure. It's Abbas in again now, and Ollie Pope covers up forward defensive back up the pitch to the bowler. The fact I kept shelling him at second grab never pleased him too much because he was a proper angry Brummie, but he was one hell of a bowler to watch rather than face, that was for sure.
Jay Grover says that's why our teeth's defection is so painful. He'd make this snore fuckery work.
Yeah.
3 wickets. I mean, it's what we think about 6-ish. They'll knock it on the head, do we think?
Abbas in again to Ollie Pope. That's a thick outside edge, worked away through the point region. Well fielded from the man who's run round from gully, and they will come through for a quick one. So Root 2 not out from 12, Pope 1 from 6.
Jersey Oak says I got several Northern Monk beers for Christmas from my nephew Beardy Ed. I think. There we go.
So it sounds like we're due to depart at the end of the over, Tony.
Are we?
David Brook to come back with Jules to take us through.
He's been lined up to try and moderate this excitement fest.
Brooksy will start dropping bait everywhere for people to start nibbling on.
Good.
No doubt. There's Abbas now, fourth ball of his 11, currently 2 for 19. England 95 for 3, and the England captain leaves that well alone outside off stump through to Rizwan for no run. Friday, are you available for the next test, Tony? Will we recreate the...
I believe I am for large parts of it, yes.
Good. I don't know what the long range weather forecast's looking like particularly.
Friday's not looking too good apparently.
Classic.
Yeah, there you go. It'll shine a little beat down for a couple of days. As he's off on the way.
Abbas now in and left alone by the England captain. To be honest, Tony, I think we're probably escaping at a reasonably good time because I just imagine it's going to be even more drab for the next 20 minutes.
If you got David and Jules on, I don't see how it could ever be drab.
I meant the cricket rather than the commentary. Well, especially with Bear being on ball by ball, it'll be fuck this, fuck that, this, that, and the other.
Maybe not. I've had a couple of beers now.
So the last ball before Tony, Bishop and I depart until at least Friday sees Abbas through past the umpire. And kind of running back into the England captain, got in all sorts of a tangle, but misses it. It goes through to the keeper for no run. For now, I will say goodbye. See you for the third test, and over to the Bear.
Thank you very much. I'm joined by Jules.
Hello.
You changed the top. You were in white earlier.
6. Huh?
Well, you were in white earlier. Am I going mad or no?
No, I was a jumper in earlier. I've got an exercise class at 6:30.
Oh, okay. What sort of exercise are you up to?
It's called Hit the Stretch, so it's like 45 minutes of a HIIT class and then 45 minutes of yoga.
Oh wow, that's quite long. I've been doing Insanity Max 30 for the last 2.5 months.
Ooh.
You heard that? Have you heard of that?
No, that sounds hard work though.
It's a crazy man called Sean T. He's an American. Yasser Shah is in, sorry. And he's driven square by Ollie Pope. That's the point. There's no run. Is Dave going to join us? I hope so.
He's probably celebrating the wickets going down there in the Essex match.
Oh, is he? He probably is. He's on YouTube watching that. Yeah, I've been doing that. I think I've lost 10 kilos in lockdown. I think it's pretty good going. I'm still massively overweight. Driven up to mid-off, and they get through for a single as Shaheen Afridi is down there. There's no run.
It's top work. I mean, lockdown has seemed to have sent people one way or the other. They've either lost a lot of weight or they've gained a lot of weight,
Yes.
depending on the circumstances.
Well, I kind of figured I've got nothing else to do, and I can either sit here and just eat, which is probably really bad for me, yeah, or I can do something about it. And driven nicely by Root up to mid-off again. They set off for another single.
Solid work. I like it.
There was so little to do, you know. I mean, I didn't even have to taxi the kids to all their clubs and stuff, so it was actually quite a joyous time. I quite enjoyed lockdown, I have to say, in a strange way. Ollie Pope goes back, cuts that nicely. It's going off down towards the third man boundary, and I think that's full out alarm, isn't it? Down there. He thinks he might just pulled it up inside the rope, and they get through for 3, and that brings up the England 100.
Whee.
Now you seem to reckon it can finish at 6, yeah?
Well, my reliable source for most cricket geekery, that is Mark Long, has reliably informed me that it's up to 41 overs, or after 6 o'clock, and after that they can declare it. Well, they can call it the end of it, no matter what. Have I got that right?
Okay, so there's because there was how many overs to be bowled? 56, wasn't there?
Whichever comes last. So if they haven't bowled 41 overs by 6 o'clock, they carry on until they've bowled 41 overs.
Okay.
Did you get that?
Yes, I did get that. And I hope the whole world got it too. Driven out to cover, and there's no run. David doesn't seem to be there.
Just carry on regardless. We've got Muttley with us still. He said it's been his nickname since about 2005, and it was his first tattoo. So his next one is planned, based on the silly, I guess, Facebook memes based on the name birthday to find out your tattoo. And mine came up as a dog related. Mate is a dog related. Sorry, his mate is a tattoo artist, and his girlfriend has designed a new one.
Oh, nice.
There you go.
Is it a Muttley from the tattoo? Is it a good representation of Muttley from what's her name? Wacky Races.
Yeah. So it looks pretty solid.
Okay,
the sketch does. So we need to wait for that tattoo to get on said leg. But
Nice.
looks all right. Looks good going. See some tattoos and just thinking, what the hell is that?
No. First ball into the hip of Pope, who just works out to mid wicket, and there's no run. I've never had a tattoo. You got a tattoo?
No.
No. I never fancy tattoos. You can't get rid of them. And I think if you're really fit and young and you have a tattoo, you think wicked. But the fact is that most of us put on weight and it all goes a bit strange as you get older, and it's not going to look good, man.
Yeah,
Although I
I'm
presume
100% with you.
you can get rid of them easier now, can't you? Laser removal is probably a lot better than it was when I was a
The
kid.
cost, the pain.
Yeah,
Why do it?
I agree with you on that. Oh, that was jabbed back by Abbas. It's defended by Pope out to mid wicket, and is no run.
And Josie Oak has said, "Not Fred looks like one of the Anthill mob."
Yes, that he does. I can see that completely. He's definitely got the right sort of shape for that. Oh no, that's a replay.
Replay. And Mohammed Abbas looks like Dick Dastardly.
A little bit, yes, I can see that.
I think you've had the one about the CPL starting tomorrow and Danny Morrison commentating on it.
Oh, is he? No, I didn't know he was commentating. That's left alone by Pope outside off stump, and there's no run.
I mean, we were talking about the appalling use of maximum. I think Danny Morrison and Mark Nicholas, I know there's a Mark Nicholas fan club in here, but by God, when they say maximum, it's just, guys, please, just don't do this.
I know,
It's just
I know.
woeful.
I have to agree with you. And obviously we take the piss out of them here, but crikey. The IPL's coming up soon as well. It's going to be a T20 fest for the next 2.5 months, isn't it? Pope plays that nicely back down the track to Mohammed Abbas.
I was finding IPL is a bit of a fanfare for really not much interesting cricket. I'm really looking forward to the CPL starting. I think that's going to be quite interesting. Obviously, we've got our domestic competition here. When does that start? Mid-September?
Something like that. I mean, everything's got to be shoehorned in. I mean, I presume they're going to go in. I heard they're going to go into October, aren't they, or something stupid like that.
Yeah, they are. I think the finals for the T20s is like the first weekend in October, which will be snowing or bright sunshine.
Well, this is depending back down the track, and there's no run. It'll be dark by about 7:30 as well. So gonna have to get it all done bloody early. They'll be due in the morning, so you can't start early, and it'll be dark late. So you'll have 5 hours in the middle of the day. Well, they can get a game in. It's only a T20, I suppose. But I doubt they'll be able to get 2 games in a day, or finals day, as it's finals days. Both semis and the final on the same day, isn't it, or something?
Yeah, it is. So you at least need 9 hours, and the mascot race.
And the mascot race, yes, of course. Abbas in. That's swung in sharply, but really sweetly timed by Pope. Plays with the swing and just clips it off his pads. Out to deep square leg. And he's going to pick himself up one of these.
It's Nissan She. It's Nissan She.
And then supposedly it was IPL, and then what? Do you think England will get out to India? Or do you think Corona will kill it off? The second wave?
The only way I can see that tour happening, because it's an absolute mess in India at the moment, is whether they'll have the tests in the Middle East somewhere like they'll do with the IPL. But even then, I guess it would depend on TV revenues, but I can't see crowds being able to travel.
No, crowds won't be there. And the question is, at the BCCI, they'll probably get massive TV audiences no matter what, won't they? Defended up the track, and there's no run. India are playing. That'd be interesting. Well, the UAE. Oh God, we play India in the UAE. We've spent years playing Pakistan in the UAE. The dead pitches. Not much fun for the bowlers.
On that note, there's been a bit of a call, hasn't there? I'm trying to see who said it, about England actually going to play in Pakistan because of the result of this series. I mean, I think if England do go out and play in Pakistan, be pretty interesting scenes how they would do it.
Root facing up to Yasser Shah. I think I missed the first ball. I just wanted the dot ball because that was the second ball of the over. Defended out to the offside, and there's no run. Yes, there's been a lot of time spent watching the cricket nonsense that goes around on Sky when they're not live, you know. And they were having a big chat about that yesterday. On the back foot, Root just pops it out to point, and they get through for a single. And it looks like it might happen, which would be great.
Yeah, it'd be fantastic news if it does happen. It really would. Would you consider going? If money was no object and you don't have the family commitments and this, that and the other.
Oh God, yeah. If that was all true, that's a different life, Jules. But yeah, if that was all true, I'd pop on a plane. I'd be free to go out and follow the cricket. That'd be great. I mean, I sometimes envy those people who do the Barmy Army thing and just spend their lives travelling around, going to lovely places and watching cricket. You're always in the sun. There's always summer, and you can sit there and just watch cricket all day long. Sounds like quite a nice thing to do.
Yeah, it's a tough life, isn't it, for some?
Yeah. Yes, it's in. Oh, that's got to be close. That's got to be out. That is out. Pope's gone back. It's the toppy, or whatever, Zuta top spinner thingy. It's gone straight on anyway. And well, Ollie Pope, is he going to review that?
Yeah, he's reviewed it.
Oh, he has reviewed it. Well, he must think he's got an edge on it, because if he hasn't, he's as plum can be, mate. Let's have a little jingle for a review.
I was definitely in. Were you definitely in? I don't know.
Now, is that pad first or bat? It's been given out, so the umpire has to have a I think actually that is a little bit of bat first, possibly.
Bat first. Pad. Ooh.
No, it's pad first.
Yeah.
Definitely pad first. If it's pad first, he's a goner. It's pretty close, but on the slow-mo replay, it's just gone straight on with the arm. It's a bit of a scrambled seam, Yasser Shah's bowled with. Hasn't gripped, hasn't turned. He's gone back. He's tried to cut it with a turn. It's done him for that. It's good disguise, and straight on with the arm. Hit him in front and middle and off. He's been trying to cut it. And we have to say goodbye to little Ollie Pope. Now, it'd be interesting if there was time to go in this game at 105 for 4, having the opposition that hadn't got themselves out for 236, you'd be going, ooh, this could be quite interesting. If they can get us out for another 60, 70 runs, unfortunately, in about 12 minutes, they're going to shake hands and walk off.
Yeah, it's pretty bloody pointless.
Yeah,
and the only thing now is it's put the seed of doubt into a few players' minds whether they can play Yasir Shah. So that's all well and good that we continued.
Absolutely. I think they're going to. It looks like there's going to be not great weather for the test starting on Friday, but it looks like there'll be more play than this one.
Oh gosh, but there can't be any less play. It's been absolutely farcical, hasn't it?
I know, it has. Well, it's the light rules, isn't it, really? I mean, what do they do about the light rules? I mean, do you change balls? Do you just say you reduce the level at which... I mean, I think you've got to reduce the level at which you say you go off. But then who makes an objective decision about that? Or do you have... You've got a light meter, surely it measures lumens. Do you go to a ground and say, right, at that amount of lumens, it's unplayable, and therefore anything above that and we're good, which is essentially what they do now, but they just leave it up to the umpire to say, well, I think it's a bit dark. But could you have a scientific study that goes on, actually a human eye can't make out this, that and the other at this level, and therefore we're going to have it just a little bit above that, and that's what we'll call it?
I think it should rest at the umpire level because you need neutrality in it, but it's got to be a lower test for it because it's just farcical at the moment. There are times when they could have played this weekend, and the fact that it didn't happen was just daft. Anyway, I'll let you introduce the new batter.
Oh yes, it's the new batter is going to face his first ball. He does, and it's this man who I can't find.
Pryor ain't no loss, 'cause we found someone subtler. Okay, he can't spell Joss, but he also can't spell Butler. Joss Butler. Just because he is Joss Butler. One S and two T's, Joss Butler.
Having defended his first ball, just knocks the next one up. Nice clip, but straight to mid-on, and there's no run. Yeah, but the thing is, right, you've given the decision to the umpire here, and then you've just said, but they could have played all this time, so...
Yeah, but you still got the rules that are coming down from the ICC. I mean, it's some of the stuff and decisions that are made at the ICC level are just baffling at times. I keep on saying this, but for an organisation or governing body that wants to promote cricket, it does everything but half the time.
Well, yes, true.
Don't get it.
As Knackle always points out, it's a private it's a private members club, which is true as well. Oh, wow! Has that taken the edge? That's an absolute corker from Mohammed Abbas. It's taken off. Root's jagged his head back. I mean, it's not that high, but it's gone off the seam, and he's fenced at it. Unfortunately, he's got nothing on it. It's angled in and then taken the seam and gone away from him. It's an absolute corker of a ball. He's got nowhere near the bat there. And there's no run. He has a little smile. He knows they're going into the next test one up. I mean, I don't know. I've never read the ICC rulebook on light, but I mean, do they have rules on what are their diktats on light? Do you know? No? Damn.
Not personally, but that could be one to look up between now and next test. Because we're going to have to go through this fast.
You're a scorer. I thought you know everything. Defended out to cover and there's no run.
I can tell you what's going on in the pitch, the field sometimes, and record it in a book, but that's about it.
Yeah.
Not that. I'm a reasonable level of nerd, but not a complete nerd. We might need sort of someone like a Knackleite around. No disrespect, Knackle.
But I mean, I saw, exactly. I saw George Bell was having a pop. Everyone's been having a pop about this light situation. But the funny thing is, some of the batsmen, I bet if they'd been out there at the time, NASA would have been, I'm not going out,
Yeah.
Abbas in, and Root steps out of his crease, just forward presses, gets it inside half of the bat, goes out square on the leg side, and they get back for a comfortable 2.
We do have some tweets coming through. So Jay Grover has, the way I pronounce it sounds like Hitler stretch, which is not a Hitler stretch. It's called Hit the Stretch, although the hit stretch sounds, we won't go down that path. Derek Willis, back on the fitness regime, has said, are we sure that Bear hasn't been doing Insanity Max for longer?
No. I've been doing it for over 2 months.
Muttley said, I've become a fatter Bradman since Corona.
That's defended by Root, out to cover, and there's no run.
There's some random stuff on here, my days. Josie Oak has said the collapse is on. Well, the collapse is well and truly on if it wasn't for the fact we've got about 10 minutes of this match left.
6 minutes left now.
It's getting close. They could still go till about 6:30 if they wanted to, or beyond.
Please don't do that. We will have to get someone else on if that's the case. Mohammed Abbas is in, bowls, and Root defends. There's 3 slips and a gully. There's a shortish cover and a mid-off. The last that's just played square, no run, 1 ball left on the over. Bass has 2 for 25.
So Jay Grover says, we are on a bound to tour Pakistan and I'd love to go, but the lack of pubs might be an issue, but I'm sure Nimbu Pani and Chai would do me good. I pronounced that terribly badly on the first pronunciation there. You can get alcohol in Pakistan in certain places at a premium price.
I'd need those places. That's down the track comes Rooty a little bit, and then Abbas bowls a little bit short, a little bit wide. It's tailing into Root. It's outside his off stump now, and he leaves it through to the keeper. And there's no run. Warren on hot mic has just got in touch and says, in the Times, the ICC are to review. I presume he says roles, but I presume his rules. Typo over bad light following delays in this match, and I think that's correct. To be fair, I think there's a lot of pressure obviously from the broadcasters on this as well. I mean, they're paying for a product, and I guess part of the thing is that TV cameras can lighten the scene, and so we don't appreciate how dark it is half the time. That's too short by Yasser Shah as he starts his next over. Butler goes on back foot, punches it back to him. No run. Yeah, go.
I mean, there's tricks of the trade as well. There are some scorers, so you can, on scoreboard operators, you can adjust the light. So if you actually think that your team's doing badly, you can make your scoreboard look a bit brighter, so it looks really darker all around. So you can play a few tricks as well. That's why you need an umpire to regulate it a bit.
Yes. On the back foot is Butler. Defends that into the leg side, and there's no run.
We've got Farong doing his weather forecasting for us. So he says a fair chance of rain on Friday. The remainder of the test is overcast and there's possible showers from Monday and Tuesday afternoon. But he's off to the Indian border on Friday for a few days.
Nice. That's defended out to the offside and there's no run. That being the case, going to where we were going with bowlers earlier, it might be that you drop Bess and bring back Archer, say, or Wood. Have a 5-man seam attack with Root bowling a bit of part-time spin. That's a filthy full toss. No, not full toss, but it's over pitched and driven nicely by Butler, but it's a deep set cover as well as a short cover. Hisham Masood and hits him. There's no run. 107 for 4. We're in the 41st over. So this is potentially the last over apart from the next one. Potentially. Flat. Oh, there's another one that's gone straight on. It's flat and faster by Yasir Shah, but I think it bounced too much. Butler went back to try and punch it into the offside. It went straight on, hit him on his top of his back thigh. Maybe going down the leg. And it's definitely too high. He's right back on his stumps and it's hit him above the level of the stumps. Good ball though, Yasir Shah, last ball of the over, and Butler just lets that through to the keeper and there's no run. England are hiding to nothing here.
So Z's with us on YouTube. He said, all hail King Joss Butler. One of us a Somerset fan on the sly. But he does say that alcohol is available in Pakistan. The locals do enjoy them in private parties. However, for foreigners, the government has licensed it to be distributed. So there's no shortage of alcohol. And welcome to Pakistan.
Ah, right. We're going. Let's go.
You put us up, Z. Job's a good one.
Absolutely.
And we've had a few predictions for the CPL.
Oh, right. Well, for the whole thing, tournament. Where's Mash? It's in the bag, Mash. We need his. We should get him on. Talk about CPL. Mohammed Abbas is in to Rooty, who defends it out to mid-wicket, and there's no run. So this is the 32nd over. It's 5:58. I guess everyone, well, me and Jules are probably hoping at the end of this over that they just go, let's go home. But it might not be the case. I don't know where Dave is, because he's still on the bloody Zoom call.
We sorting out his dog or something. After didn't the dog eat something spicy? He's probably dealing with all kinds.
Well, yeah, could be.
Dog-related spice incident.
Defended and no run. Short legs coming. Abid Ali has popped in there at short leg.
Yeah, if anyone's not had a chance to listen yet, the Caribbean Cricket Podcast are doing fantastic reviews or previews of the teams for the CPL, so do listen.
Yeah, they've done one for everyone. They're working with the cricketer as well, aren't they? That's a beautiful shot by Root. Comes, takes a ton of steps down towards Abbas, clips it beautifully off his pad, down towards deep cow. Outfield is wet, so it's not going to make it to the boundary, but he gets back for 3, moving in onto 110 for 4. That was a nice shot.
Yeah. Really beautifully played. It's on the leg side. Oh, I love it when Root plays proper cricket.
Well, yeah, and then he gets himself out. He gets himself out too often for me.
He's had a lot of innings.
I know, but he always tries to push things on sometimes a little bit when he doesn't need to.
Yeah.
And I sometimes think, when he started and he was, compared to Kohli and those guys, that's defended by Butler. And it goes out to mid-wicket and there's no run. Rightfully so for that period. But I think over the last 2 years, you'd have to say that Kohli and Kane Williamson are out in front of him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Piggy Smith too.
I mean, some of that is the captaincy, but I also think some of that is just his character as well. I think I spoke about it maybe in one of the West Indies tests about him not being, he's possibly a better man manager, but he's not a demonstrative character. I'll just let you do this ball.
Abbas in bowls. Oh, wow. I think that might have been an inside edge onto pad. There's a big appeal from behind the stumps. There must be appealing for LBW because it bounced before it got through the Rizwan. There's no run. They're not going to review that. Yeah, you're right. And the thing is, we always used to in the days when Bell used to be very similar as a classy batsman. He used to get himself out, inevitably in the 60s and 70s when he should have gone on to get 100s. And we gave him a ton of shit on Test Match Sofa and Gorilla when we started. We don't really give Root nearly as much. It's kind of a similar situation. Mohammed Abbas is in outside Butler's off stump. He leaves it through to the keeper and there's no run.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see just actually how Root's career will go over the next couple of years, whether they will move Stokes into that captaincy role, which is looking likely, even more likely is going to happen, and what will then happen to Root's career. Will he be able to cement himself as a test batter?
Oh, I think he could do that. It's funny, isn't it? Because England captaincy is not really done captaincy. The captains, that some people thrive. That's defended out to cover and there's no run. I mean, Kane Williamson thrives as a captain. The average has gone up. Piggy Smith, Kohli, and Roots has gone down. And some people it affects in that way. I don't know if I want Stokes as much. I think Stokes is a really good vice captain. I'm not sure I want him as my captain.
I worry about how he would manage some of the personalities, particularly some of the more fragile ones, which is why you need a character like Root around. But I think Stokes is far more a decisive captain. It was interesting watching the reviews. You've got far more of a hope of a review being successful if you've got Stokes calling the shots, whereas Root looks a bit like he's just going to go, oh yeah, I agree with you, and just be a bit diplomatic about it.
Yeah, especially when Broady's reviewing. That one goes on again. From Yasir Shah, keeps a little bit low. Root jabs his bat and it goes out to point. There's no run. Well, my clock says 6:03 and it's 42nd over. We should have been out of here, but they're carrying on. And Yasir Shah bowls again, tosses that up, and defended back down the track, and there's no run.
I am going to have to move in the next probably 5 to 10 minutes.
I'm gonna get on WhatsApp and say who's coming back.
Come back, I was forgiven.
Yes, Gary, come back on. Hold on. That was defended up to, or driven up to mid-off, and there's no run.
Do you want to do a call out and I'll do a bit of ball by ball?
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, it's all looking a little bit lazy. We've got the sun nicely setting over the Rose Bowl. You'd think they'd be setting at the innings of this match. As Yorkshire bowls the 4th ball of the over, it's just played away on the onside. No run is taken. It's just all got a bit... The only urgency and energy that we're seeing in this match at the moment is between innings as the Pakistan fielders are running to either end. So we come up to the 5th ball of the over. It's just defended back down the track by Root there, back towards the hands of Shah. Root always looks like he's a bit pensive. He's looking around, he's sort of going, what the hell's going on? Big sigh. You're thinking, mate, this is an absolute dead rubber.
Absolutely. Totally.
Why are you taking it so serious? And we come up oof. That is just, well, it's kind of punched away again onto the onside. That's gone to point. No runs taken. I don't know why Root is looking so nervous about everything. He's quite right about it, I'm not sure. It's very odd. But yeah, that's it. The score is, well, I mean, this is completely pointless, but I'm going to give you the score. It's 110 for 4. It's 43 overs. They can absolutely call it quits here, but instead it looks like we've got a change of bowling coming on.
Oh my God, this is the Alistair Cook moment. This man's going to bowl.
My name is Aja Ali. Nobody I'd rather be.
Well, this is absolute scenes. That's all I'm going to tell you.
I don't understand what is going on. I'm going to have a look at Cricket Info in a second. Gary Naylor, you can make yourself visible and you can put your audio on. You can join us. It's been me and Jules for the last 25-30 minutes. We thought Dave was going to join us, but he never did. So, hello, Gary.
Well, hello. I'm delighted to be here.
Are you going to carry on ball by ball, Jules? Go for it.
Yeah, that's well, Azhar Ali's first ball literally just falls just to the feet of Root. Absolutely has them all ends up and goes back behind. What's happening here? Are they done? Have they actually called stops? He's literally bowled one ball. They've done a whole load of fist pumps and that's it. So whether Azhar Ali just wanted to bowl one ball, that was it. But jobs are given, match is drawn. No massive shock on the result, and that's it. But what was the bloody hell point of bowling that one ball?
Well, the reason is that you can declare with and you lose 2 overs, but you also lose the over that you're in. So it allows them to have 15 overs plus the 2 declaration plus the 5 balls in this over goes missing. Now, if you're thinking that's completely bonkers, welcome to the world of cricket and close of play. Because it's all nonsense from beginning to end. But that's why he had to bowl that one ball. It was to get the over started so the over could be terminated. Lose 2 for the declaration, lose another 15 in the last hour. What an absolute mess of a last day that was. In fact, a bit of a mess of a test match. But we can applaud the players. They gave it their all. But really, cricket's got to do something about this.
Well, it does, and it comes down to the light issue, doesn't it? As much as the rain and the weather, I think we've lost an awful lot of time due to bad light, and I think that's what's infuriating most people is not so much the rain issue, it's the bad light issue, isn't it?
It just reeks of the kind of attitude which tries to catch people out with the 6th case of a non-declining Latin verb or something. Why should it be so difficult, and why should I need to explain at some length why Azhar Ali had to bowl one ball there?
Yeah.
I mean, to some people it's a kind of, it's well,
you had to explain
kind of whimsical eccentricity, but to me it's indicative of an attitude that says that we have to follow these esoteric rules which actually go against opening up what's already a complex game to the public. And here we are, glorious sunshine, everybody out of quarantine, everybody COVID tested up to the eyeballs, and what are you doing? walking off.
Yeah, but there was nothing to be gained by carrying on either, was there, at this point in the game? I mean, to a certain degree, you might as well just called it off this afternoon and said,
well, that's it, one or the other. Either call it off in the afternoon and say, look, you could possibly make a case if England were all out 33 or whatever. And
well, you could definitely make a case. They've been bowled out for 33 and 15 overs, and there were still 40 overs left in the day. You can definitely make a case. But that's it. As soon as they went past the follow-on, you have to go, well, the chances here are.
But the other way to look at it, and it was the same last night, is you say there's 6 hours of cricket to play. We're not worried here about whether Hollyoaks has to start at 6 o'clock for the live coverage and all of that, and it's not impossible for the BBC to delay their highlights. If there's light to play and there's 6 hours of cricket to get into the day, play while there's light to play, and they could play till 8 o'clock tonight. They could have played till 8 o'clock last night. There are other times they could play till 8 o'clock. That's before we get to floodlights. That's just in the sunshine. I mean, everything about how the game avoids cricketers playing cricket, to me, is wrong. They're always looking for a reason to stop the game. Umpires never hurry the opposing captains on and say, get on with the game. You've got to bowl 15 overs an hour. They should be bowling 17 overs an hour. Endless conversations are allowed in the middle of an over. The amount of protective equipment that comes on and off the field in the middle of overs is also terrible. They stop for drinks every 5 minutes, and I mean, not every 5 minutes, that's wrong. They have official drinks breaks once in each session, but they have endless other ones with people running on and giving quick drinks and so on. I mean, it's not really on. These players are paid a lot of money, and that's fair enough. They've negotiated that. But in the background, the quid pro quo for that is, if you're offering people 90 overs in a day, and it should be 96 or even 102, then you should deliver 96 or 102 in a day if it's possible to play. And after all the work that's gone on and the sacrifices made by lots of people who are not in the limelight, who are not on big contracts and getting the fame, to get these matches on, for it to be so dilatory, so hidebound by rules, so unwilling in the first place to play the game, and then once the game is running to make a match of it, I think it's really, really poor, really poor.
Yeah,
you won't get hear that on TMS, because the ex-players and the people who are paid by the broadcasters who are funding this will probably come up and say things like that they're going to be a little disappointed in that. Well, things haven't quite worked out as they should. But for the people, and I paid 30 years, I paid on the door to go and see cricket. This is what they're saying. The people like me these days, I haven't paid for cricket for 10 years, so lucky me. They have a different view. But if you're stumping out the money to pay, either through your subscriptions or on the gate, when players walk off in the early evening under glorious sunlight after you've sat through rain and bad light for 3 hours, you wonder what the hell is going on.
Yeah, I can see that point. And those games particularly don't have broadcasters to satiate either, do they, really? I mean, county cricket doesn't have to satiate the broadcaster per se, apart from the BBC commentator who probably wants to get home.
Well, county cricket's pretty good at it. They made a decision a few years ago to play on through dubious light, and they don't actually miss that much from bad light, and they'll even play on through showers. I haven't got much of a problem with county cricket. It did have a problem 10 years ago, and I think many of us remember in the early days of T20, one puddle at deep square leg, a capacity crowd for a Roses match in about 2004 were denied cricket for about 2 hours because there was a puddle at deep square leg. It was unbelievable. The groundsman kept going over there and umpires were stamping about in the puddle. You've never seen anything like it, but because it was completely mad then doesn't make it slightly mad now. And it is mad, and it's contemptuous of the audience. It's contemptuous really of the people who've worked so hard, and the Pakistan players as well who come over, have gone through the quarantine and are still living under essentially house arrest in the UK. It's really not on.
I mean, to a certain degree I'd agree with you. I'm not so sure about with the rain and stuff, but certainly with the bad light I think they've got to sort that out. I mean, the whole point of having the floodlights was so that you could play on in bad light, and they still seem to go
My
off.
view with rain is when it stops raining you should be playing. unless it's standing water, you should be playing. I don't hold with this, it's too risky. Like I said to you, I keep hearing the risk of bowlers run-ups and they'll slip and they'll slide. Well, I've never seen it. I've been watching cricket 50 years. I have never seen it. So if they're getting the risk, if the scales are so loaded over to the other side, and as I say, if they want to take risk out of the game, then ban players from diving full length and going into the advertising hoardings, as I once saw Zafar Ansari do at Surrey, and there was a 15-minute delay, and there was some real concern because he hit those advertising hoardings head first, full length at some speed. But you're going to get risks that you can't mitigate, like two fielders running into each other. Steve Waugh and Terry Alderman was at that time, and stuff like that's going to happen.
But it happens in football.
You
all
can
the time.
mitigate. You should mitigate, and they should certainly ban players diving headfirst into advertising hoardings.
Yeah, no, I agree. So last tweets. Gary's on a rant, says Josie. Yep, he is. Messages says it looks as if they can't tell. Call it off until the final hour starts, which is when there are 15 overs left, i.e. after 46. Yeah, that's correct. Messages says. No, Gorilla Hendo isn't coming in. Jay Grover says, hand the fuck on. Does this mean I'm paying for Gary to watch cricket? Cheers. Well, you might well be. No, I'm okay. Jane Francis says, they were really good. Oh, sorry, she's talking about some shorts. So I'm not going to talk about that. She went to the dentist and everything was fine. Well, Gary, are you back on next test?
Well, I hope so. Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays are looked after these days, so I can't do those.
What's going on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays with you, Gary?
I'll be there to watch the Bad Light and Rain from I think Monday and Tuesday. I think they start the next test on Friday, don't they?
Yeah, it's Friday. Are you back in at work?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay.
Afraid so. Face shield on, face mask on.
The old face shield.
Yeah, it's all a little bit like working in a motorcycle helmet, but out there on the front line, so to speak. In fact, I'm being slightly facetious there, but back when COVID was at its height in March and April, my colleagues were going in and they didn't have the PPE, and they really were on the front line. And fair play to anybody who worked in a shop at that time.
Absolutely,
I didn't, but they did, and that shouldn't be forgotten.
Right, that's it. Jay Grover says thank you all very much. Thank you all for listening.
Thank
it's
you,
a reciprocal
Jay, and all
thing.
the listeners.
You listen to us, we talk to you. And you can talk to us too via the medium of social media, which is great. It's been a crazy test, as we said, very frustrating. Ended up being a draw. England 104 for 4 at the end. And we're back here on Friday for the third test. England 1 up. What was the last result we had against Pakistan?
I don't know, but we haven't lost a home series since 2012 against South Africa. So
well, we're not going to lose this one because we're 1 up with 1 to play, but we could draw.
Yeah.
Anyway, we'll be back on Friday. Until then, see you later, peeps.
See you then.
Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla cricket. Whoa. Guerrilla. Take guard, man the barricades, patrol the cover boundary. At last the time is come, this is a cricketing emergency. Hear this call to arms for every cricket revolutionary. Take up your bats and stumps for the test match insurgency. At first they tried to silence us, but we would not be silenced. They threatened us with lies, so we threatened them with violence. Che Guevara, Sangakkara, Joseph Stalin, Douglas Jardine, Robespierre, Carol Hare, Vladimir Lenin, O'Brien Kevin, Guerrilla cricket. It's not about the winning, it's about how many rules you break. Even in cricket commentary, this is the best advice to take. Pick Guerrilla Cricket, it's the finest choice you'll ever make. There's so much more to cricket than red counters and a slice of cake. At first they tried to sanitize us and clean up our act, but people like it filthy, and we know that for a fact. Fidel Castro, Lenny Pasco, Carlos the Jackal,